Alright, go.
Alright.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Gelato Beach Podcast.
Podcast?
Joining me this evening, my good friends,
Emmanuel.
I'm Evan.
and my name is Nathan, also.
My name is
My name is what?
Marshall Mathers.
Marshall
All right.
Mathers, my boy.
So, we took a little week off last week, but we are back. New setup now. Trying something new. No table. We are now on the couch.
Trying the couch, the relaxed
Patent
style
pending.
stream.
Gelato Beach couch stream.
Also, no Avery for
He'll be here. But,
We'll
That'll be a
see
hot
how
minute.
comfortable we are when he gets here.
Yeah, let's have 4 men on the couch. Seems.
4 men. Well, he can sit on our laps.
Oh yeah, he can
Yeah.
just sit lay across.
Yeah.
Yep, right across.
Done it before.
Do it again.
So I guess let's start things off with the news. Anything going on, fellas?
Let's get right into the news. Well, Guilty Gear Strive beta. Actually, I don't think we even mentioned this to you, but there's a new beta, and it's going to be on the 13th of this month.
On the
So,
13th.
13th, 14th, 15th, 16th.
16th.
So we'll be coming
So,
over there
yes.
every night.
I'm going to
Exactly.
live in Evan's basement.
You guys are welcome to stay. We have a guest room. You guys are welcome to stay there. It's a
We
twin
can share a
bed. Yeah, it's a twin bed. You guys can hang out in there.
Oh, yeah.
They're separated. There's a space between them. You guys can still hold hands.
We can
if
be
you want.
good
Hat
Christian
litter box
boys.
too?
No, we
Like,
moved it.
Snacks?
We moved it.
There's
Yeah,
no
it's
Tyler
midnight
Box
snack.
right now.
Good shit, bastard.
Just love the crunch. The crunch.
So yeah, that's cool. And in that beta, we're gonna have 2 new characters. We're gonna have Angie Mito and Eno, the
My
music
man.
witch.
Wait, and are they new characters, or are they characters
They're
from
They're
last game?
previous
previous
games.
characters,
So,
but yeah.
One of them made their first appearance in like the first game of the series. She's been there for like forever. She was like the final boss in the first one, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And she's been in pretty much every iteration I can think of.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other one, his last appearance was in Plus R.
It's been a long time
He's
since
been
we've
gone
had him
for
in a
quite
game.
some time, and he's
So-
finally back. The Oki Gorilla Man.
Yeah, so he's
Alright.
he's cool. He's
Alright.
got fans. His name's
He's a
Anji.
stripper.
He used to wear diapers on his head, but now he doesn't. He's cool. He grew out of his diaper phase, and he will be in the upcoming.
Gonna be
beta.
a mix-up monster.
Yeah, they changed the game a lot. They made like anti-air like options stronger
Yeah,
because
so
it was like really strong.
What they announced that they're changing, right? What we're talking about here is all the things that they have said specifically. They are changing from the last iteration of the game we played in January, right?
Yep.
January, February, the last beta, right?
Yeah.
All the changes they made to adjust for balance and player feedback and all these things. First and foremost, instant rematching is a thing. It's real. It's in the game. Everyone can stop complaining.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's definitely necessary. The thing about fighting games is they're snappy, right?
Yeah.
League of Legends takes you 40 minutes per match. Fighting
Yeah.
games, you have a shitty League of Legends match, you're in there for 45 minutes, and you're fucking hating your life the whole time. You have a shitty, you get fucked up in a fighting game.
In
it's
and out. 2 minutes.
90 seconds
Yeah.
at the most, you know? Yeah, in and out, you're playing someone else. So, it's, the quickness and the snappiness of fighting games is where a lot of the appeal lies, and having instant rematch definitely helps with that.
Absolutely.
And fixing the lobby system will help a lot, too.
I
'cause
mean, it's not perfect. It's still Haba Hotel.
yeah, I mean,
But-
it is nice that now there's, like, battle stations.
Yeah, you don't just,
Yeah.
wave your dick in the wind and
And
hope.
sometimes, like, it would just teleport you to a random spot. Now,
It was
like,
fucked
there's
up.
They basically just did the old ArcSys tried and true arcade cabinets, you know?
Yeah. I gotta say, like, as much as people complain about the Haba Hotel shit, I think the floor system is actually really neat.
Mhm.
And I'm hoping it works out for them. So I think it could be really cool to kind of divide players up based on skill level in that way. Have it be that if you're a certain skill level, you can't go below whatever your, like, minimum floor is. You're not, like, seeing god players in, like, basic lobbies. At least not for a match, or more than a match or two.
How does that work? If you can't match with players lower than you, then how do you match with someone who's above you because they can't match with you
Because,
you're
okay,
lower
so
than
here's
them?
the thing. If you're on the bottom floor, you can go to, like, any floor above you save for, like, heaven and the exclusive ones.
Uh-huh.
You're going to get your shit fucked up, but you can go up as far as you want if you want to, like, prove yourself right out the gate, right? But if you're on the top floor because you've been playing for a while and you've already, like, established your rank, you can no longer go down, but bad players can come up. So it goes both ways for bad players, only goes up for good players.
Interesting. Yeah.
Is it a challenging system? Like you can challenge in this floor? Or?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay,
So
okay.
what it is if you are on the bottom floor, like I said, you can go to any floor. However, if you've been playing the game for a while and you've already gotten your rank to say floor 50, you can now only go up.
So
Like
just because you are at the top floor, like you don't get to challenge someone down there, but you will get to challenge them if they choose to be
If
up
they
there.
come up to you,
Okay,
right?
okay.
So you
the
can
only
play,
exception
you
to
can
that is
still
like
play anyone.
Mm-hmm. Basically.
But
It's just-
they have to come to you
Yeah.
and challenge you.
Yeah, from what I understand of it. And I think that's a really cool way to like do it.
Yeah, it's cool. The floors are cool.
I'm hoping they're kind of divvied up, kind of like, bronze, silver, gold. I hope there's like a little bit of that style of traditional
Right.
ranking system there. So you're not going around like, yeah, I'm floor 53.
Yeah,
Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
It is cool though. The final rank, or at least what we know right now, the final rank is heaven. So you get to like floor. I'm pretty sure it's only 10 floors as of right now.
Yeah.
You get to floor 10, and then floor 11 opens up, and it's like heaven. And then
The challenge to get
it's
into
like-
heaven's crazy too. You have to win 5 matches, losing no more than 2, or else you get
Yeah.
kicked out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's really exclusive. Also, I think their actual ranking system is a wanted poster with a bounty.
Oh yeah,
And
that's
I think
really
that's
cool.
really sick.
It's like it lists. It's kind of like character XP from what I remember from the beta. It's like the more XP you have on the character, it would just like list your bounty, and it was kind of cool. Because it was like listed in a form of like money or gold or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's neat.
But the other big changes from the previous beta, like Evan was saying, they've really tried to make jumping weaker.
Yeah.
Just because your solution in like all situations in the last beta was jump and swing big aerial.
Right,
Yeah.
because you could
Yeah.
like jump in to attack, or you could jump away to like
Sure, you
get
can
out of
attack
tricky
and-
situations. Like up backing was so strong, like just holding up and back so that you would jump like backwards. It literally was nothing you could do. If someone was just jumping away from you like that, you had no response because they could block anything. There was no like air unblockable moves. You couldn't like jump and grab them. They would just run away, so you couldn't like command grab them or anything. So it was basically just the best option in all scenarios was to jump backwards.
So they in addition to increasing, I think, jump squat, so like the frames before you're actually in the air, so that you have some vulnerability when you input jump. And in addition to increasing that, they also made aerials as a whole laggier, especially when landing. Made anti-airs stronger across the board, although
They
they
just
don't
made them
have the
bigger.
details on that.
They made the hitboxes bigger on the anti-airs. It's every character 6p, which is the universal anti-air. They made it much bigger so that they can more reliably hit the anti-airs. And then they added like a bunch of. There's no specific
No, we don't know all of it.
details, but we know that aerials are going to be laggier now.
So
And
we're not gonna
there's going to be lag
fly
on
you
like
swinging
Yeah,
anchor
yeah.
every
double
2
jumps
seconds.
Yeah,
and like
that
air
was-
dashes and
That
stuff.
wasn't very fun. Okay.
But yeah, that's the big changes, and then character specific balances. So probably gonna see May and Pot nerfed a little bit.
I mean,
I
we'll
would
just have to
imagine.
see. We didn't really get any info from the location test on May and Potemkin.
The other big thing they changed was they made it so they put in a new mechanic to kind of dissuade people from looping the same move over and over again. Being that
it was like the gravity system
yeah,
now.
so if you hit the same move over and over and over again, they're gonna fall faster every time you hit the same move. So for instance, there were characters like Ramlethal, who had the 2 big swords, she had her DP motion was just Daro, right? She put up her hand like this, and it kind of just bounced you up, and she could loop that like all the way across the screen. That was like optimal combo route for her, was to just Daro carry you across the screen. Now she can only get like 1 or 2 before you fall down and you're out of it. So
Like,
that loop's gone. They changed like Giovanna's loop with the, I think it's quarter circle backslash.
Yeah,
is no longer
Giovanna's
really a
like
thing.
jump kick thing you could infinite people with and just kill them. Like they couldn't do anything. So now
And the thing
hopefully
is,
people
I'm
follow
pretty sure
that.
you couldn't kill them faster than the round expired, like because it did so little damage.
Right.
But you could just like keep doing
you
it,
could
and if
time
you had a
them out.
life lead, you timed him out. It's fucked up. But yeah, it's so that's like they basically made it so combo routes are going to be more varied, which I think is a good thing overall.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think like as Smash players, hitting the same move 100 times in a row is cool to an extent. But I think the combos where you do one thing into another thing into another thing are generally cooler, especially when there are different options that are good in different situations.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know, pros and cons to them.
It's like a better feel to be a master of like a character more than a master of like one character's move.
Right.
Using it all the time, and it just feels better.
PK
Exactly. Yeah, instead of having like one just like really strong move that you can spam, you get to know the character and you can use their cool stuff and like get to show them off and show your mastery of the character.
Use the full kit.
Exactly.
Full kit. But, all right. So is that it for
news?
Guilty?
Yeah, that's it for Guilty Gear, I think.
Okay.
Anything else? Any other news?
They're doing a location, or not a location test. They're getting certain streamers to come in and test out Project L, the
the new League of Legends fighting game.
So we're probably going to be getting some screenshots and a little bit of footage on that pretty soon. They're probably going to have to sign non-disclosure agreements, so nothing crazy, but a little more details than the single screenshot of Darius hitting whatever the tail lady is.
Alright.
We're going to have more than the single screenshot that we have at the moment.
I mean, this is very cool that things are actually in the works now, because for the longest time, I mean, it was like 2018, 2019 that they announced the game.
They announced it with Valorant, right?
Yeah, they released like all of the, it was for League of Legends, like something anniversary. It was like 20-year anniversary or 10-year anniversary or something.
20-year anniversary.
They were like
since the 90s I've been playing League.
They were like or I think it must have been 10-year because the League came out in like
2009
or something. So yeah, it must have been the 2019 Evo. They were like, here's all like a bunch of the projects. Project A was Valorant, and then Project L is their fighting game. And then we got like one screenshot for Project L. And
it was in
now
like
finally
a workshop video, like, oh, this is what we're doing, all these things. They showed some like panning shot of a sketch, and then there's a single shot where the camera pans past a computer, and you just see like Darius, whatever, doing this with a big like sword or something.
This is a big ass axe.
Big axe, yeah. And then the other one, Ari's standing on the other side like this.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, holy shit! Oh!
Yeah, they showed like a few clips. Like there was one where like a guy was like programming it and like it showed a screen and it was like he was playing like Jinx versus like Katarina and this bitch was like a gun and she's like doing air combos with it and everyone's like, whoa!
I know League is like known for how many a crazy number of characters it has.
Right.
So
like,
I'm
how many are we
gonna
gonna get?
A lot of them. A huge variety.
What if they just did all of them?
That would be fun.
insane.
Fucked up
really
that would
cool.
be.
That's the biggest roster. Like,
Yeah,
How
that'd be
how
the
is
biggest
fighting
fighting
game
game
gonna
roster
work?
ever. Huh?
Is Yumi gonna work?
You don't play the game. You attach to the enemy and they can't hit you.
Shit, fuck. No, but like I personally, like the only champions I really care about are like the two that I played in like 2011, 2014-ish.
yeah.
Which was like Fizz and Caitlyn. So like, if those two are there, I'll be stoked. But honestly, fighting game, I'll just attach myself to whoever.
Right, you'll just find a character that fits your playstyle and then you'll like them. So
Yeah. No.
that's all there is to it.
I'm sure there's gonna be skins for that and that too.
Oh yeah, no, there's 100%. You're gonna be able to buy fucking skins for Ari. You're gonna spend all your money on that shit. Oh yeah, no, you're gonna be able to sink so much money into that game. I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
Oh.
I just hope they don't go like the Street Fighter V route with the costumes, where they're like physics objects and like certain costumes obscure moves and shit like that. Because silhouettes and being able to identify what the opponent is doing in every situation is, I feel like, so important in fighting games. Because in League, you can put on whatever skin and you see it and you like, I don't know, I feel like it's a little less tight on seeing the exact silhouette of who's coming compared to a fighting game.
They do. Some skins are banned though, like in tournaments, because they just obscure too many abilities.
Some skins make like abilities maybe like a tiny bit longer. Right,
It
like
it
a
looks
tiny
like
bit.
it, but none of the actual like hitboxes and shit are changed.
No, yeah.
But
It's just-
yeah, some things like make the
wait,
worst
no.
offender ever is like Blitzcrank, because Blitzcrank usually has his rocket grab where it's like a tether from his body and then his hand and it reaches out. But in Blitzcrank, it's literally just invisible except for the little hand
It's
at
like
the end.
extremely thin
So-
too. So
Yeah, so it's so fucked up. It's like, man, they literally just gave him an invisible grab. It's so like dumb.
That was who Aaron played, wasn't it? It was
Yeah.
Blitzcrank.
yeah, I remember
He
that.
was so funny. He got so upset.
He got very upset very often. But
Yeah. Any other news coming out? I know there was just a new season for Apex coming, right?
It's coming pretty soon. We
New
just
character,
found out.
right? Valkyrie.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
She's got like a bow and arrow. She flies.
She doesn't
she's
have
got,
a
like,
bow and
skin.
arrow. Bow and arrow is a new weapon. Anybody
a
can use it,
Oh,
and it looks sick. I really like the way it
that's
looks.
dope. We have a bow and arrow weapon. That's tight as
I think
fuck.
the map updates look really cool too. They're
Mhm.
updating Olympus really heavily.
One thing I'm really excited about is they're adding like a deathmatch game mode
What?
where it's like 5 rounds, 3v3. So like your squad versus
that's
your squad,
tight.
and then it's like shuffles between like it. There's like the map is basically just like your static locations in the original map, but be like modified. So that's like
A smaller map.
yeah,
Right.
smaller map, maybe like small changes so
So
that
you could see like the ship in Olympus, or you could see the cage
Probably.
in.
I don't think there's a ship.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like
But-
as an example, that
yeah,
those kinds
yeah.
of
They're
known
just like
locations.
smaller
Basically.
spots, like
Exactly.
on the
More
map.
like a COD map, you know?
Yeah. Although they're not like really that small.
Mhm.
I mean,
Sure.
knowing like Apex Legends, you kind of need a pretty big map because you still have abilities. Octane is still there, and he could
Mhm.
probably jump pad after a while, which is kind of busted. I'm sure he'll be like top tier in that game mode, but no, we.
I like that they're diversifying things, though.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
great.
Oh yeah,
More game modes sounds fun.
so I can't wait
I've
for
seen
that.
some fucked up shit with Valkyrie too. She could just like launch her whole team into the air all the time.
Yeah,
Like,
Yep.
Okay.
she's insane. No, but the big thing is like all the buffs and nerfs that I've seen,
yeah,
kind of insane. The big like the noteworthy things is they took Peacekeeper out of.
Oh, the legendary rotation.
so you're just gonna be able to find
Mhm.
Peacekeeper.
I mean, they nerfed it for sure, but
Right.
it's out there. And then Triple Take
Interesting.
got into the rotation.
What?
What?
Why?
Triple take?
Mhm.
I mean,
Is
Mhm.
it
tri-
legendary?
okay, here's the
now?
thing.
Yeah.
Thank God. I mean,
Triple
I don't
Take's
like that weapon
really
anyways.
good.
Yeah,
But legendary, damn.
they
Are they
nerfed
taking
its
Kraber
damage, but they buffed its like
So wait a minute.
overall.
Are
like,
they taking Kraber out though? Because I think
No.
the idea of having 2 snipers in there is kind of fucked up.
Yeah, but I see they nerfed Triple Take a little bit so that
Mhm.
it's more like an assault rifle,
What?
which
How?
a lot of people do call Triple Take just like one of the best shotguns in the game. 'Cause
Yeah,
just,
it
like,
is.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
need to just fire 3 bullets in
Exactly.
a fully straight line.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's
And
like the
so-
weapon straight out of Dead Space.
Mhm. Exactly. So
You should turn your brightness down. I'm gonna kill you,
Should I?
battery, bro.
oh wait, you're right. It's not even loading.
There you
go. And then immediately.
go. What the fuck?
I
Nice.
did your
All
phone.
right,
On your phone. Oh, and another thing too is they buffed G7 Scout and Repeater.
I feel like the
Yeah, they
the
put those
scout
in a
buff
new
was
marksman
necessary
class,
because
No, that's not really the buff. Okay, the buff is, and the same with Triple Take, is before the iron sight was like this.
Mhm.
Now it's like this. So it's a better zoom. Another thing too is like they increased the headshot damage, and they also what was this other thing? They added for the 33 repeater. They added a new hop up. Right,
Oh.
so now and the hop up
Right.
works with the bow too, and it makes it so it's like a shotgun like, shot. And so the
Okay.
bow you can have like a shotgun bow. It looks really cool.
That's
And then same with the 33 repeater. It's like a
You need
shotgun
to
rifle.
finally be viable.
Yeah, the
that's
3030
really good.
was like
Yeah.
just like I never found a good time to use it. It was always like, I'll just take my fucking
Wingman.
like anything else.
Yeah. Oh, and that's another big thing with the wingman. They took out the headshot, like the
The
headshot,
skull piercer?
the skull piercer.
No.
What? That was the only reason,
Mhm.
like, to take wingman.
They,
Yeah,
they,
well,
and then they put like the headshot damage in between the original no skull no skull.
so they just
piercer.
upped its damage, so
Yeah.
it's just better without a hop up now.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
That's kind of
That's
cool.
fine, I guess.
So they kind
Makes
of
it more
like
consistent,
a
I
little
guess.
balance. Yeah, a little more
Just be
consistent.
weird, the choice.
Like an overall reward for headshots, but
Yeah.
a nerf if you would have had the headshot thing.
Yeah,
Right.
So,
gotcha.
yeah. Other than that, that's really all that we know about the Apex Legends.
I heard
it
one
not?
other thing is that they're adding a new like loot cache thing in Olympus, wherein the ship is all overgrown and nasty now, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you drop into it, there are like 3 or 4 corpses of the ship's crew. One of them has a key on them, like like similar to Marvin's arm, just a gold item you find.
Mm-hmm.
And when you grab it, you can unlock this like secret cache room at the front of the ship. But it's also just one of the best places for loot, so people are going to be dropping there all the time. So it's not going to be consistent, but it's like all purple and I'm like a gold or 2 in that room.
Oh,
Interesting.
okay. I thought you
So
were
it's
talking
similar
about.
to like the bunkers on World's Edge. I would say.
Oh yeah.
It's just consistent because it's on one of those corpses every time.
That might be a thing too. I haven't heard of that because I do know for like the game mode that they're coming out with, it is an eco round thing.
Mm-hmm.
You do start out with like picking out your weapons and if you have armor, what kind of armor, and then as you go on, you'll save money, or if you lose, you'll have an eco. Yeah, and so it's basically like Valorant.
Yeah, they're basically adding a Valorant kind of thing with like buying the guns and shit and like saving money. And
exactly.
Nice.
I mean, they saw me go switch to Valorant. And they're like, oh,
yeah,
shit.
they saw you specifically.
We lost
They were
Emmanuel.
like,
No,
we lost Emmanuel. We
Get back
gotta
in here.
add Valorant stuff to the game.
Are there any buffs for Rampart?
Are there any what
don't
character
know.
adjustments?
I know that they said that they were they're gonna do like a full rework of
thinking.
Rampart at some point
Mhm.
and like really majorly improve her.
Yeah.
But they were like, yeah, that'll probably be in like 5-10 seasons. When we get around to it. And I was like, damn,
Jeez.
that
Yeah.
sucks.
I mean, I know Havoc is getting a buff too, but other than that, that's it.
The
Yeah,
Havoc,
I
I
remember you
feel like you
talking
needed
about
it. I feel like no one really.
I mean,
took
it's got the
Havoc.
highest DPS of any automatic weapon. It's just inconsistent as fuck.
You
Yeah.
really need to
Yeah.
hop up for the Havoc to work.
Mm-hmm.
Any other news stuff going on? I figured we forgot to pick a game.
Oh,
Oh,
gosh.
got it.
News
Real quick.
stuff. I mean, the new season for Valorant just started. We don't have a new agent, which is really weird because for Valorant, like every new season adds a new agent, and it's been like consistently like that.
Mhm.
This is like the first time they're just like, oh yeah, no agent, like fuck you guys. So that was kind of weird. But we do have Breeze, which is the new map, and it's kind of tight. We like that. We like
It's huge.
Breeze.
Party.
We like the party. Breeze is very huge and it's cool and it takes forever to rotate on, but it's very funny. I like it. It's a good map. It's definitely like way better than Icebox, which is like the Icebox was the newest map before Breeze, and they can have it back. We don't want it.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it's not the worst thing in the world, but I still just don't like it.
Yeah.
That's I think all the news I can think of.
Okay.
Sick, so we can move on to our topic.
Yeah, new Pokemon Snap came out.
Oh yeah, I was thinking about buying
It
that.
looks good as fuck. I really want to play it. Like, it looks relaxing and fun and charming, and that's all I want out of it.
Yeah, do you want to get the new Pokemon Snap?
No.
No, you're not interested at all? Okay, fine, I'll just play
Is
it
it
by
because there's
myself.
spider Pokemon in it?
No.
You see Ariados.
I've seen that one before. I'm just not interested in the game.
You just had enough Pokemon on Let's Go, right?
Yeah, I
That was it?
have enough Pokemon games.
Yeah.
Snap looks
Alright,
really
alright.
good.
It looks good. It looks chill. I could just vibe
I'm
around.
gonna stream it. Fuck it.
Yeah, I think I might get it.
Alright. So you want to move on to casual next? Or you want to do big topic? We could wait on big topic since Avery's
Yeah,
on
we
his
can
way.
wait on topic. We'll just
Yeah.
talk about what we've been playing recently. So Nathan, what have you been playing recently?
Well, I'm glad you asked. I've been continuing Hat in Time. By the way, you're a fucking liar. You said that game was like 3 hours, and it is absolutely not.
I beat it very quickly. I don't know about you.
I think you
didn't.
skipped
I didn't
all of the content in the entire game.
For the first like 3 worlds, I tried to get. I did get all of the fucking things, the little sand whatever, and I
Hourglasses.
did. And then like after that, I just got bored with getting them all, so I just got the necessary ones, and then I beat the game, and that was it.
I swear to God, 3 hours is way short.
It
So
wasn't.
I've
It
got, like,
wasn't
solid-
3 hours, but I was definitely exaggerating. But it definitely wasn't a long game.
Okay.
But
Yeah, I can see that.
I did not do the Yakuza Metro or whatever.
That looks mad fun. I'm
I'm
excited for that.
Yeah, that one looks cool. But I did do. I like the forest one.
The Subcon Forest with the contract demon. guy.
Yeah, that one was very cool. I like that one. Very fun.
Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with it still. My only issue is that my stream crashes if I go for longer than 2 hours. So I'm just playing it in little bite-sized little pieces, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure there's a setting on the stream thing for like reconnection stuff.
I got it on. It doesn't do so hot, unfortunately. But you know, we're making do.
Interesting.
But I've also been playing a lot of Breath of the Wild on Master Mode for the first time.
How is Master Mode compared to regular? Because I played a little bit, and it seems like the enemy damage has increased, but other than that, it's pretty much the
Enemy
same.
damage is increased. Enemy health is increased. Weapons are less frequent. It's harder overall. Like, things just are set up to kick your ass more.
Right.
You only get one save and one autosave.
Mm-hmm.
So like you can't cheese stuff nearly as much.
Right.
There's just some like it's pretty You got your flashlight on
fuck?
too. What are
Yo,
you doing,
what?
man?
He's just wasting battery.
Manuel does not want to watch the stream.
No, come on. Oh god, this is the worst one.
You still got the flashlight. But it.
Oh my god, what the fuck? Oh no.
Your
Alright.
phone is literally shitting itself.
But you know, it's cool. I'm really enjoying it because it's just tougher overall. The biggest issue is that weapons seem like they break a lot faster.
Alright,
And
flashlight
with getting
time.
weapons
That's it.
less frequently and enemies having increased health and damage,
Yeah.
more often than not, if I don't have like full weapon slots, I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna avoid those guys over there. I'm just gonna leave.
Right, because you just break all your fucking weapons.
Yeah, just break everything and like die. Fuck that.
Yeah.
But it's still been a ton of fun, honestly.
I mean, have you had to be like more methodical in your approach?
Oh yeah,
to, like,
absolutely.
things? Yeah.
Much more careful
Sure, that
approaching
makes it more
everything.
fun too.
Like the thing is, the Great Plateau, the like starting area,
Mhm.
is immensely harder. Like
Yeah.
immensely harder because every weapon is like 2 damage, right? But the enemies are still like blue and black bokoblins, so they're fucked up strong, and you just got no damage on any weapons and no armor that's more than like one armor on it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you have to play so cautiously.
Do you
it's
find
insane.
yourself like using like the other forms of combat, like hitting them with like metal boxes or like
I
rolling
did for a while.
boulders, or
Like when it's available, I'll try it. Absolutely. Like I definitely tried to assess the areas that I'm in and use those to my advantage more than just run at them and hope
Mhm.
that I can take them on. But not like an insane amount or anything. More often than not, I stealth into their camp, steal their weapons, and then leave so that I can conserve them for like the next camp.
Mm-hmm.
There were a couple times where I like got the axe and just tried to knock him off a cliff or something. Because I was like, fuck that, I'm not fighting that guy. But after you get off the Great Plateau, like, it's still dangerous, but you have a much greater access to like inventory.
Right.
You can go anywhere. There are spots where there's just like a dozen claymores that are all like 10 damage. So it's like, oh, if I really need to, I can just go fill my entire inventory with like decent damage stuff. So it doesn't hold up as challenging throughout the entire thing. But that first area is fucked up. Like,
yeah.
Kick your ass and then some.
Yeah, I remember playing through that like a little bit, and it was just like really taking the piss out of me. Avery's telling me that you were watching was it Invincible?
Dude, it's so good.
That I was thinking
I
like I
cannot
really want to
recommend
start
it
watching that.
I'm 5 episodes in. Like just watch the first episode and you'll be 110% hooked.
Because each episode's like 45 minutes, right?
Yeah, and there's only 8.
like 8 episodes. Yeah, and there's only one season.
Yeah,
but
if we
they were-
finish early tonight, I straight up think we should like just group watch the first episode.
I'm down.
It's
Yeah.
really, really good.
But I heard that it was so good and so well received that they greenlit seasons 2 and 3.
Yeah, already.
So,
Damn.
there's definitely going to be more. And I've seen all the fucking memes about, like, think, Mark, use your fucking brain. If you wake up DP every time, they're going to block and punish you. Like,
yeah.
I just seen, like, so
One of my
many memes.
favorites I saw, I'm not going to tell who the characters were, but it's like, fuck domestic violence. We taking this shit international. And it's just like this dude ripping this guy apart across like every country in the world, just like tearing through subways and busting through Mount Everest, like
That's so
all
funny.
over the place. It's great. But
started-
it's really well written.
I started watching Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I want to watch that, yeah.
What'd you think?
Ooh, really good. Right now I think I'm like halfway through season
I love the character
1.
designs. The guy with, like, the stuff on his face, I think he's the main character.
Main character.
Yuji?
Like, so the thing is-
Oh,
look who it
Come-
is. Hey, your
sit on
burrito's
my
over
lap.
there, fucker. But who's the main character? Is the guy with the
It's
blindfold or is it the guy
Itadori,
with
it's
the pink?
Itadori Yuji. It's the pink hair.
Okay. Well,
what's
so
his
who's the
face?
guy with the blindfold?
That's
then?
Goju Satoru.
Yeah, yeah.
Is he the bad guy?
No,
Is he
no.
the good guy? Is
He's
he...
Kakashi. He's Kakashi
Oh, he's
to
like
his
the
Naruto.
teacher?
Yeah. However, he's also the strongest man on the planet unequivocally, and he makes every
Hey,
villain
watch the
look like
stream
a
on your
joke.
phone.
Yeah.
So like
We're
the thing is,
3.92 or like 2.92.
the big thing with him as a character
Uh.
is he makes every villain a joke. If he's in the fight, the good guys have won.
Right.
So they have to take a lot of really interesting approaches to taking him out of combat.
Right, like
having
kind of
him
like
being
One
on
Punch
travel,
Man.
yeah.
Like,
Having him be traveling, or there's like a specific curse barrier that only blocks him out. Any other like curse user fighter guy can go in for free and like not have anything to worry about. But just he is sealed out because he would just trivialize everything. Like the big plot that hasn't come to fruition at all yet with the main villains is like, how do we take him out of the equation so we can actually like do something?
Right, because he's just like
Just
so
like, how do we
like
fucking-
One Punch Man
Yeah.
powerful.
And so one of the like big bads was like, I'm gonna go hunt him down. I can take him. Got his shit fucking kicked in so hard that like he went to fight him and he was like, oh, this is a good learning opportunity. Let me go get my student real quick, and like went home, got Yuji, came back and was like, watch this, and just fucked him up. Like, it was amazing.
That's so funny. Yeah, that show sounds really cool. And we were just talking about Invincible Avery.
Oh yes.
So yeah, I definitely want to start watching that.
Yeah.
We're thinking about group watching the first episode after this is done.
I'm game.
You haven't watched it, right?
I haven't seen I haven't seen any full episodes.
Nice.
Avery, you want to switch over and be over here to be in order?
If you really, really, really want me to, sure.
I
don't
think
care.
Stupid and silly now.
You can just switch the characters.
I'm not reaching for that controller. Anyway,
No, just- they
that's
can just
what I've
imagine
been
it.
playing recently is just mostly Breath of the Wild and Hat Time. So
Nice, cool. Emmanuel?
I've been playing with this
Yeah,
guy right
you
here.
and I have just been playing a fuck ton of Valorant. Like, we've just been grinding that shit. It is really fun. Like, there's such a rush when you just, like, got the Vandal and you doink, doink, doink. Like, you're just getting kids. It's such a good time. Like, there's highs and lows to it. There's obviously, like, you could be, like, 0 and 14, not getting anyone, having a bad day. But also, it's worth it.
Then there's games you're like 0-10, and then like from then on you win every single round till the end.
Oh, those
And
feel
then-
great. Like when
yeah.
you're like 0 to like 10, and then you bring it back. You just have like the craziest win streak ever.
yeah.
They forfeit.
Yeah, and then they forfeit.
It's
They
that's
forfeit.
I hate that they can
People
do that.
forfeit like
It's
crazy.
like, come on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh.
I'm so happy that Gianni is playing it. That's
Yeah,
incredible.
Hopefully more than once.
Hopefully
I can't
more than
believe
once.
I
He
missed
played
it.
two
Last
games
time,
and then
yeah.
bailed. But
Really?
that was
Oh, fucker.
something.
Oh, you weren't there for that?
No, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't get in.
I didn't get in either, so.
Yeah, I think it was like us three, and then David Gianni.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
Bastard, man.
I mean, it looked like he was having fun when he was using the op.
He was using the op. He was having a lot of fun with the op. He was like second frag, so he was doing pretty well for the first like day playing.
Yeah, yeah.
He was playing Sova.
He was playing Sova and one Jet, and then
Yeah, and he had 2 games. So yeah.
You
there you
call
go.
him
Keep talking.
Gianni? You call him Gianni? Nice. Okay.
okay.
Call Jeremy
Have we even talked
and ask him to play more Valorant with us.
We went through news already. We're just going through what we've been playing
cool.
recently.
Cool.
Yeah, everybody. Or unless Emmanuel, is there anything else you've been playing recently?
Other than just meaning to play Apex, that's it. It's just Valorant recently,
Right.
which really enjoying it. We're climbing. We're getting there.
We are
Pretty-
climbing slowly but surely. I mean, we both made it to bronze 3, so
Gianni?
that means and
Hey,
the
buddy.
ranking system works backwards, kind of like
have you been playing
CS:GO.
Valorant,
So it's like
with the fellas?
bronze 1 is the lowest,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
3
yeah.
is
Three.
highest.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure.
Until, like,
one
up
fight
next,
thing,
silver
I think
one.
you would,
Yeah,
We just
silver 1 is
gonna get
next.
to
We're
silver.
super
Stuck
close.
at silver.
I wanna game with you a little,
What
not
is there
tonight,
one in
but,
Valorant?
coming up.
That is Silver 2 in CS:GO.
Yeah, of
Silver
course.
2.
Silver 2 is like the one. Silver 2 in Valorant as well.
It's the same ranking
It's-
system.
Yeah.
I heard you
So-
were
so everybody was stuck in
second top
silver
frag with
too.
the op. That's
Huh?
pretty sick.
Everybody's
Mm.
stuck in Silver 2
Yeah,
in CS:GO.
like
Oh.
silver 2 to
Like
gold.
that's
Don't
the
trust
one.
I didn't know there was like a
Don't
meme
leave
about
it
it.
Oh,
but,
Silver 2 is like that is your base average.
Just like everyone's in silver.
That's
too.
your. I think that is like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
one
no,
with the
true.
most
I
people in
spent
it
money.
probably.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
And so
Um,
would you say it's the
I got
same?
a space gun.
Intro for Valorant is like silver gold,
Probably.
probably.
Yeah, I mean, there's
Yeah,
still a
yeah,
lot of
yeah.
people at bronze.
Hey, if you're not doing anything,
But I'm not
wanna
sure.
Maybe throw the stream on in the
Yeah, I'm
background?
sure it's
We're pretty
bronze.
close to
Bronze,
it.
silver,
I'm
then
not
diamond.
enough in the community to know that much.
Thanks,
and
man. I
we've been
appreciate
playing it for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, yeah. We're still really new at it, which I'm so
it.
glad.
And
We got matched in like bronze instead of
Right, because
iron.
like
right?
he started at bronze too, which there is iron as well.
This one even lower.
Yeah, so it's like we didn't get placed in the lowest division even,
That's good.
and not even like the lowest rank in like the next one. So we
Yeah.
are
Pretty good.
Awesome.
placed
Yeah,
bronze
love
2,
you,
now
man.
we're bronze 3, and
Okay, bye,
yeah,
baby.
well,
Silver's
hopefully
next. You know,
we have
tackle
bright
that shit.
future ahead of us.
Gianni's in the chat.
hopefully.
Johnny's in the chat.
Gianni's in the
Gianni's
chat.
in the chat. Gianni, play more Valorant.
Should I get
with
David
us,
next?
fucker.
Yeah, call David right now.
Call David. Yeah.
Get him in.
Alright, you guys
We're
keep
at
talking.
2.9. I'm gonna be so.
Well, the other thing is we need to stream on 2 more days this week.
That's fine. Well, that's
might
not
kill our
fine
average.
because let's say Okay.
We just gotta get the average really
We have
high.
to be
with
super
this.
strategic.
Well, whenever you guys stream, you just need to message and make sure everyone call David, call
We
Johnny,
need to-
make sure everyone's like fucking viewing.
I'm
it.
sorry, Nathan. I don't think we can stream Pokemon.
No, we can't do Pokemon. I think we should just do like 10-minute stream tomorrow, 10-minute stream the next day, where we just everyone can hop in for 10 minutes.
Yeah. Anyway.
You can just play Valorant.
Yeah,
Gelato
sure.
Beach
Do
Valorant.
Valorant.
stream.
There you go. That'll
Okay.
work.
I'm not streaming it though, because I'm terrible at the game and I don't want people to see that.
Oh shit. You're right. I guess
I
that'd
mean,
be good.
you can just die and then spectate other people.
Yeah, there you go.
I think you
Too
and
low.
Evan should you two should be the ones streaming it.
I mean, I could stream it. I just need to log in for
That's-
Gelato.
Scout
Beach,
has
but,
it.
yeah, Scout has. Cool. Well, that sounds fun. Avery, what are you playing?
I've been playing some Valorant with you guys,
Mhm.
just a little bit.
How you liking it?
I'm-
What are your thoughts? Your overall assessment
I'm
of the
having
game?
fun playing it. I'll preface it with this: I am having fun playing it with you guys.
Yeah,
I don't, it's
right.
nothing
like, you
I
don't
would
think
ever.
you'd play it alone.
Probably not.
I mean, do you play CS:GO alone?
I did for a little. I was surprised. I had like 70. I think I have like at least 100 hours in CS:GO, and I was like, "There's no way." I thought I didn't play it that much.
Yeah, but how many hours do you have in TF2 in a game you actually like?
I'm not saying that. But anyway, so I like it. It's fun. The abilities, I'm not a huge fan, but I've learned to live with them.
You just got to think about them as
Yeah. Well,
Frag,
I really kind
Flash,
of, I did, and
Molotov,
I kind
smoke,
of, was like totally separate.
wall.
And I still personally would be like, I don't want them at all. However, they're fine. I don't mind them as much anymore.
Yeah.
Everything else is good. Feels good.
I'd say the only thing that bothers me is the flashes.
There's
That's
a lot of
really it.
flashes.
There's a lot
Every
of
character
flashes.
has a flash.
My
Every
fucking my
game
own
has
team
a
has
yeah.
flashes, and they always get me. I hate
You look
that
at, like,
shit.
They seem like it's
Every character has a flash or two, and then there's like Astra who can just have 5 every round. It's like, all right,
Well,
so
they're
this
not
is where they're
technically
focusing.
flashes. They're
they
concussion
could be
grenades.
yeah.
Because like,
But-
Which,
she
like-
but
has
still.
a smoke, she has a pole. and
I
she
just
has
think
a
it's funny.
concuss,
Like
right?
it's like, okay, they got 1 flash on this guy and 2 flashes on this guy, and this one's got 3, and those are 5.
yeah.
I mean,
It's just-
Phoenix has 2, Yoru has 2, Breach has 3,
Sky has 2.
Sky has 3.
Sky has 3, right? Yeah, 2 birds and
Oh, this is the man on me.
Yeah, just a man.
I'm pretty sure he has 3 birds, right?
no, I'm pretty sure it's 2
Sky?
birds.
Sky has
Yeah.
3.
Sky has 3. I'm
I
pretty
just-
sure it's
yeah.
Is
The
it
thing
3
about-
birds?
Yeah, she has one of her ability. I'm pretty sure, unless she has 3 dogs or 3.
It's 1 dog and like 2 birds. I was pretty sure.
I don't know.
I could be wrong.
I'm gonna.
There is a dog and there's some birds.
There's
It's
a dog
only
and
1
some
bird
birds.
charge.
The
But-
one thing, the flashes really bug me because they're really.
Johnny in chat saying
I
things.
feel like they're kind of unpredictable and
Evan?
really hard to avoid.
Hold up. Gianni has asked a question. Evan mains Viper.
Yes, I like Viper.
I play Sky and a little bit of Astra recently.
Jet Rays.
Cypher.
He plays Cypher. I'm thinking about getting the other one I'm thinking about getting is Yoru. So I
Oh,
wanna
that's
try
cool.
Yoru.
He's a
Yoru
very
looks really
aggressive
fun.
like
Yeah.
character.
I
He's
just
got some
like his
really fucked
character
up
design.
bullshit because you can. Yeah, well, he's like cool Japanese,
Cool
you know,
Yakuza man.
and he like you can do cool stuff where you like throw your teleport on the site, right, and it goes like
Yorupog.
back site, Yorupog, and then you can like flash on the site and like it'll flash people and then take your teleport,
And you're behind
and then
them.
like you're
or some
behind
shit.
them while they're all flashed.
So they don't even
So-
know where to look once they're on flat. That's crazy.
Right,
That's
it's
really
pretty good. He can do some like really tricky stuff, and it's ult. You just get to run around invincible. Like that's it. It goes invincible.
Can he shoot anybody?
No, and he you can't be hit, and you're just running around, and they can see you if you're close enough, so you can like run and like teabag in front of them and just like
My
keep
God.
running around. It's so obnoxious.
Dude, that fucking Yoru ult in that one game we played was the funniest thing ever. It was like the entire team, all 5 of them, they'd aced the team except for Yoru was left. And they're all standing there waiting for him because they know he's going to walk around this corner. They know exactly where he is. So he like throws his flash out and ults, and they're all like, oh, fuck, oh, shit. And we're all sitting there. Oh, my God, Yoru's going to do it, right? And he walks right in the middle of all 5 of them, right in the center of all 5 of them, and he's close enough that they all just turn and look at him. And then he becomes uninvincible, just boom, 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 from all directions. And everyone in their chat's just, Yoru Pog, Yoru Pog, Yoru
you're
Pog.
Pog. It's so
my
funny.
I felt so bad for that guy.
That's really funny.
Yeah, so it's fun. But Johnny, play more with us. It was very fun, and you were doing very well, so you have no reason to dislike it.
Yeah.
Based on your own grade system. Evan, what have you been playing?
What have I been playing?
Skullgirls,
Fuck ton of
Street
Valorant.
Fighter,
I have been
Valorant.
playing a lot of fighting games too, and Skullgirls is actually very fun. My only issue is that nobody fucking plays the game.
That's true.
I literally sit there looking for lobbies, and literally there's 0 people playing the game. And it's like annoying. I will check the beta environment. I will check the live servers. And there'll be like one guy in like Zimbabwe playing by himself in an empty lobby, and
I feel kind of bad saying this, but the animations for like the characters and their moves are like distractingly beautiful.
it's
When I'm
really
playing
good.
the game, I literally can't focus on what the fuck I'm doing because I'm just like, oh my god.
It's
art
just the
is
game
It's
so
a
looks
fucking
smorgasbord of
It's-
like
it's-
the best animation.
It looks so
It looks
good.
amazing. It really
Oh
does.
my god. Yeah.
But it's just like there's nobody playing it. Like honestly, like I'd rather play a shittier game that like actually has
we
people
got Street
playing
Fighter
it.
4.
Exactly, they got Street Fighter. It's like Street Fighter feels worse in every way, but people actually play that game, so it's like, well,
Yeah.
guess I'll play
Even
Street
with the new
Fighter.
character coming out for Skullgirls?
There's Annie.
Yeah.
They actually
She's
just
super
added
cool.
like a character
She's got my
pass.
favorite DP I've ever used.
Yeah, she's like.
I mean, it's just Viper.
uppercut. It's
Uh,
yeah, it's
I think it feels like really good on her for some reason.
yeah. But they announced the character pass, so there's like 4 other characters coming to
Nice.
Skullgirls, which is crazy
Nice.
because the game's been out for like fucking like
I was gonna
feels
say.
like 5 years
I think,
or something.
I think
been
it's
out
kind of
forever.
smart of them though, honestly,
Uh-huh.
because like, what do you do from there? you know?
Yeah,
And they have the base there. Might as well just expand upon it.
yeah, add more characters.
Totally
Yeah.
cool.
Hoping Strive gets lots of characters.
Me too. We needed lots and lots of characters. I mean, that's kind of how
Bring everybody
every
back.
like Exard worked. Like they had their base roster and they just added like a bunch of
Well,
characters.
the thing is, in Exard, like it was like, oh, we're doing 2 characters with this major game update. Oh, we're doing like a 1 standalone character. Like it wasn't like a pass where they were doing a season of 5 new characters the way Street Fighter or Dragon Ball Fighters did it. But with how Arxis has restructured since Exard, we're more than likely going to see the Dragon Ball Fighter Z and the like Grand Blue Fantasy
Arxis,
Versus
yeah,
style, where it's
like-
like a season pass gets you 5 new characters.
Exactly. I think that's the route they're gonna go.
There's
for.
no way they don't.
So yeah, absolutely. And I think it'll be cool.
Mad stoked. Anything else you guys want to talk about before we jump into the big news?
No, I think we should get on to our topic for today.
Excellent. Today we're talking about world building in video games.
What is
Yeah,
world
what is
building?
it?
So first, before anything else,
Uh-huh.
I just want to mention, I didn't write it down, but we're also going to do another bullet point, big one down here, right before conclusions, right here. All right, you see it?
Mm-hmm.
Pretend it's there.
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
where we talk about properties that aren't video games and concepts that aren't video games that we would like to see, a world developed as a video game,
Okay.
and how we would want that to be done. For instance, you could go as general. I'm not
I would
gonna get
like
into
a
this now.
world.
a pirate game. Or you could go, I want One Piece fleshed out, and you get to be a pirate and find a crew, and
I want a game.
you go as in depth as you want. But we're doing that later.
I want a
That's not the
game
point.
where you're a mushroom man.
Green.
A little
Goblin
green
man.
goblin man in
Right.
a
Pop
mushroom
out of the sexy
world.
coffee, and you put me back in and
Like-
stir me up.
I want a Frankie and Lola's video game.
Frankie and Lola's video game. That's on us, guys. We have to develop.
have to develop
and
it.
Make the Frankie and Lola's video game where you fight Michael.
Did
What?
Michael got in a fight last week?
No, I know. I
Fucked up.
know.
Oh, he actually got in a fight.
You
Yeah.
not see his?
I saw it, but I
Yeah,
didn't really
it was a
ask
fight.
him.
Kicked the shit out of some guy.
Yeah, you beat
Yeah.
guys some guy up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
apparently.
well, we
Did
should
he
talk
win
about this
the
on
fight?
stream. But
Well,
yeah,
well,
no.
you know what? We'll bring Michael in. and
Yeah,
he'll
we'll
tell
call him
everyone.
up.
He'll set
Interview
the
him.
record
Call your
straight.
grandpa
Fight.
and ask him to send him down.
Yeah.
Anyway,
World building. What is
we got to
it?
define world building and what we mean
Okay.
by that term. So I think what we're kind of referring to with that is everything surrounding the gameplay, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Not technically,
Yeah.
not code and mechanics and menus, but like everything in the world that is not like your player character. Everything that establishes other characters, that establishes environments and histories and all that, right?
It's like
Story,
the setting.
Story and
mood,
setting.
atmosphere. I would say
Yeah.
most of those things.
Music even plays a role in that.
Absolutely, I would agree.
The world of Persona 5, I would imagine, feels kind of jazzy.
Yeah.
You got that
it's jazzy.
smooth
I think
shit.
it's
It'd be
jazz
different without the,
fusion.
if you didn't have the music.
You had fucking heavy
Totally
metal
different.
and that, it ain't working.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
Totally different.
Should we start with Persona 5?
Oh, we can fucking run right out the
Well,
gate.
well, let's define a little clearer, because that faves and least faves is the next bullet point. All right, we can do Persona 5 in just a second.
I mean, hey, I didn't even bring it up this time.
I brought it up. I know.
I mean,
I'm
talking about it if that's what you guys want
It's on my
to, but-
mind sometimes because everyone and their mom fucking uses the bum 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 bum.
Dude,
That
YouTubers
track,
use the
it's
music
in every
so
video.
Mhm.
much. Any
Like-
YouTuber you've ever watched uses Persona 5 music in the background.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Surprisingly,
It's
I found a lot use Mother 3 too. Mother
Yeah.
3 is
Oh,
really
yeah.
common.
I noticed that too. Yeah, because I don't fucking know, but it's good. You know?
Good music.
Anyways, let's define it a little clearer. Like, what do you think, Avery? You got a definition on the tip of your tongue?
For world building?
Yeah.
No, I mean what you said was pretty clear.
How?
I think specifically for me, it's how a game builds its story in a way,
How it's constructed.
how it's constructed, and how the player
How the player interacts with it and experiences it.
yes,
How
it's-
the experience is
It's
constructed.
very. I would say there's few I'm trying to think because, for example, the gameplay in Breath of the Wild is player based. You discover it. You create that yourself.
But the world
the
is
world
already
building,
fleshed out extensively.
very definitive. It is on purpose. I don't think there's a
every
case where it's
experience you
not.
find feels unique, and like a once in a lifetime thing. But they're everywhere, right? There's these little unique experiences. Like when I was playing just the other day on stream. There's like a bridge, and you find a bokoblin beating the shit out of some random traveler, and you swoop in and save him, and it feels like, oh my god, this is like such a cool interaction that's happening.
Yeah.
But it's like that was happening the whole time. That's how the world set that up for you to find and do,
Yes.
right?
And the developer specifically put that there
Yes.
too.
It's not a procedural. Oh,
No.
this is random happenstance. This is an experience that was tailored for me to find
Yes.
and have
to
like,
further enhance your experience and have a better
your
understanding.
perception of the world you're in.
Yes, I would agree with that. That's what I would say.
It's good.
Whenever I think of world building, I think of a term that every game journalist and their grandma uses when they talk about games, and that's making the game feel alive. You see that term thrown around a lot in game journalism and shit like that, reporting on games.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, when I play Batman, I feel like Batman and the world is alive, and
It really makes you feel like Spider-Man.
Really makes you feel like you're living in New York City.
Exaggerated
And you
swagger.
can smell the shit and piss, and the world feels so alive. And they say that for a reason. And I think that has to do a lot with world building. Making the worlds feel alive
I wish
in
their
the games that you're
lexicon was a little
playing.
more varied. then
Yeah,
really
true.
feel like X.
It really feels
really
alive.
smell
It
the X.
Kind of smells like Dark Souls. It's like the Dark Souls of Dark Souls.
Oh my god. I think a good, concise way to define it is to say, is this something that someone would write in a script for this? This type of music is playing. Here's the scene.
How would they describe it?
How would they describe
it
the
way
scene?
This is?
Mhm.
That's what I would. That whatever goes into
Okay,
that.
so
that's what I would
let's
consider
kind of
world
liken
building.
it to world building is in a game is similar to a writer constructing a scene from the ground up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Every aspect and how it plays into the overall full experience of the performance.
Yeah.
Right.
And it
if we're going with the metaphor out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess there's instances where that could change too. For example, games with weather systems, you could experience one scene differently. So, I don't know.
Yeah,
But-
it's been fucking raining for 3 days straight in Breath of the Wild, it's pissing me off.
God, it does
Can't
rain
climb
for like
shit.
3 days straight.
It's so obnoxious.
Well, are you in the Thunder area?
No, I'm in
Okay.
Hateno Village,
Okay.
and it's raining for a month.
Okay.
I'm trying to light all the little blue
There's an
torches.
area where there's
It's fucked up.
indefinite thunder.
I know that.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay.
I like that area.
You like that area?
Yeah.
Okay.
I found a Google description that might give
Yeah,
some
do
context
it.
that'd be helpful. So it's like world building is just the process of constructing the everything about an imaginary world, talking about like ecology, geography, history, everything that has to do with what it's like to be in that setting.
And that's a good
Lore.
thing to bring up is that there's
yeah.
a lot that can go into that. If you want to put the care into like building the world, you can really, really, really dive in and do a lot. Like you can dive into everything. I mean, you basically can just try and tailor it to everything that is a thing in this world, I'm going to make the geology like this, and this like this, and this like this. The fauna and the, plants and the animals and...
Right.
The shit like that. Like, you can really go in depth, but you don't have to.
No.
If you want to take the
Some games
easy
don't
approach,
have it.
this is our world, but there's vampires. It's New York City, but there's a goblin in the streets.
Our go-to is always a goblin.
Yeah.
Because it's
What's
funny.
you have
It
a
is
problem
fun.
with that?
No, I don't. I just think it's funny. It's always a goblin. So when are we making it
complaining about the goblins?
So
now.
when are we
What's
make?
next?
Gotta make
You're
the
making,
game.
you're making it sound like you're saying I'm crazy. Like this guy's talking about the goblins again.
Complaining about the goblins again.
Right.
Jerking off, huh?
Insane streamer jerks off on stream.
What's in that box?
But so I think now we should kind of dive into our favorites and least favorites, how they're effective and or ineffective, and why.
Okay.
Anybody want to start us off on that?
I can think.
Sorry. I was gonna say, like, for me, like, the one I remember like the most is gonna be like my first one. So I played like GTA, but honestly, it doesn't have like a whole lot because it isn't really like fantasy. That is possibly like real life. You could,
Sure.
people are killing each other.
Right,
For me,
right,
it's
right.
gonna be Skyrim.
Right. No, that's a
Skyrim
great
is,
example.
Like my first, like real, like very good.
Yeah.
What's the topic?
World building.
World building, like example of world building.
Maybe
Absolutely,
10
I would agree
miles
with that.
away.
Oh yeah, I'm already thinking. But the real thing, like for me, is the music.
Music
The
is kind?
music and atmosphere, everything pulled together,
Yeah.
and then on top of that, the lore.
Yeah.
Is like
Absolutely.
insane. And I'm already going into like another game too, and that's like the lore is the main reason why Dark Souls is such a real big thing for me. Honestly,
Dark
I
Souls
could,
lore, Big Hat Logan, named Big Hat Logan because he hat big. I mean, Bloodborne lore is fucking crazy.
I actually
Yeah.
wanted to bring up Bloodborne in particular. Bloodborne and Dark Souls, their worlds are kind of designed with cruelty as the like thesis statement. This is a cruel world, right? Like for instance, I was watching this analysis actually on Worldbuilding like last week when we were going to do this originally, talking about the first Dark Souls game, Demon Souls, like the recent remake. How you get out of the first like tutorial-ish kind of area, and when you come out of there, you're facing at fork in the road where both of those areas are like way exponentially harder than what you just did. And like the game is setting you up to think, oh, I need to go down one of these two paths. When in actuality, the next area you should be going to is like directly behind you. So like if you want to go to the area that you're supposed to, where everything's like around your appropriate level or whatever, you turn around and go straight backwards into this other area. But the game sets you up to go into these two places because it wants you to like experience how cruel this world is. It wants you to get the shit kicked out of you like for like 2 hours straight. And I think that's like an interesting design choice to like set you up to get feel how cruel this world is meant to be, with that being their thesis statement.
Yeah.
Well, like for me, Dark Souls, really like how do you say, like pull the string on me? For me, the whole thing about Dark Souls, because I played like 1, 2, and 3. Stop it! I played 1, 2, and 3, and I'd say 3 was much more impactful because, like in the middle of like 3, I realized like, oh, the whole thing, the whole genre is just all about existential like dread and how depressing this world is. And you can really tell, like in the beginning, everything was kind of together. Everything had structure. Everything was kind of like, it was, gruesome, but the dragons were at least like alive. In 3, everything was just destroyed. Like you're now, like you're in a world that's been through like 3 games of this shit. People have linked, like this is going into like the fire, right? Linking the fire.
The whole gist of the game is that there's a fire, right? And that's what gives like the gods of the realm their power. And if the fire goes out, then the age of the gods will end and the age of man will begin. But like, nobody wants that because like, oh, new things are scary. So like, we got to keep linking the fire. But like, it is so taxing to link the fire. And so like, they're just doing it again and again. And the fire is destined to fade no matter how many times you light the fire. It's going to go out again. You're going to need to light it again. So it's like, Dark Souls 1, you got to link the fire. Dark Souls 2, you got to link the fucking fire. Dark Souls 3, you got to link the fire. But now we're just so fucked up after linking the fire after time and time again. And that's even represented by your character. Your character is someone who tried to link the fire and failed. They were a failure at linking the fire, and they got burnt to a crisp without doing anything. And, your whole character design is a fucking failure.
And even like the last bonfire in the game, everything was just turning into each other. The buildings were all over the place.
Like the world was like distorting around the fire.
Yeah. It was this world like tired of just being linked and just wanting to end.
Well, it's you're talking about this what was it? What's the like genre of horror that you really like? Like
I know cosmic
horror, right?
horror,
You're
yeah.
facing these cosmic horror entities that you are completely dwarfed by.
Yeah.
Not necessarily all the time. Sometimes it's just big pig
more
and shit like that. But like you're facing these like astronomical things, and the world is designed to be all cruel and shit, and kind of build you up to be like this ant against an unstoppable force, right? And then the catharsis from finally overcoming that is insane.
Yeah.
And I think that design philosophy is really neat. Kind of unrelated to the lore thing, but I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, no, it's definitely like important to mention, and like it definitely in Bloodborne more than like Dark Souls.
Yeah.
Dark Souls, you're fighting a big dude, and his lore is that he's a big dude.
Yeah.
But like in Bloodborne, it's like the entity you're fighting is so like you're fighting something that your puny human mind struggles to even comprehend. Like you literally cannot.
There's even a leveling system for the comprehension. There's insight. Like the more insight you have, and you can go back to certain areas, and then there's like new things you see because you're crazy enough to comprehend.
Yeah, it's like your
these things.
it's basically your craziness level, but it's also your ability to see like the truth of like the beyond and whatnot.
Yeah,
and so like things can change based on your level of insight. And it's funny, there's one boss called the Witches of Hemwick where the whole gimmick is that there's little green goblin women that are shooting fireballs at
Goblins.
you. Yeah. Yes. But the annoying part about the fight is that they're spawning these like big, tall, ghouly men that come around and hunt you down. And so you're dealing with the ghouly men, and you're trying to run around like, where the fuck are these small invisible women? You're beating the shit out of them. But if you have zero insight, the mobs don't spawn, and it's just the little women, and it's super fucking easy to beat the shit out of all of them because you literally just cannot like. You're not crazy. You don't like. You have no knowledge of the beyond, so you can't even comprehend these enemies, and so they just don't affect you. They're not on your same even plane of existence.
Yeah.
And that's like the next step of like world building,
That's cool.
where it like affects gameplay.
Gameplay,
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, I think when I think of world building, things that really make a world feel fleshed out and built and like pre-existing is when things happen not to me. Like when I am walking around and I see something that has happened, or like I engage in some character side quest and I see the result of that happened without me even being there. And the Souls games do a great job of that.
Yeah, knowing the world is like moving when you're not around.
Exactly.
Is a really big thing.
And that is so huge.
It does so much.
For me, like especially, I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but like in the Souls games a lot, you will like do a side quest with a character, and then you'll go back to where you usually meet them, and they will be dead. Like they'll just be dead, and you're like, how did they die? Like I don't fucking know. You'll like find their gravestone, or like there's so much crazy shit where they're like shit just happens without you even there. And that makes the world feel like really impactful, and that makes it feel alive. Like I was talking about, the buzzword that fucking game journalists love to use is that the world really feels like it's moving and has like a bunch of moving parts, and it doesn't care whether you're there or not for things to happen, and you can stumble upon the remnants of those actions, even if they like just happen. They don't have to be like Breath of the Wild where it was 1,000,000 years ago and you're finding out like, oh, the long lost ancient history. This happened like 13 minutes ago and you just weren't there to see it, and now you're this person's dead.
Too little, too late.
Yeah, too little, too late, and that stuff makes games feel really like fleshed out for me.
And even in bosses, there's some decisions you make early on, and then find out like, oh, you have the option to team up with this one guy that you helped out earlier on this boss.
Just for an example from Dark Souls 3, there's a character named Sigurd of Katarina, and if you do his side quest, he'll come help you with a boss later. But you can totally miss that, and it's really easy to miss that. It's actually really difficult to, if you're a new player, it's rather difficult to get his help on that boss fight. You have to know exactly what you're doing, and so it's kind of like interesting that you can completely miss these sections of the game, and things can happen without you if you're not doing it like the correct way.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay.
What's your favorite though?
Favorite like instance of world building in a game?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Thesis
kind of a hard
statement time.
choice.
Thesis statement time.
It's really like
This is a hard
question, but I mean, I want to say Persona, but Bloodborne has just such immaculate world building. Everything in that game, the game does not revolve around you. It doesn't give a shit that you're there. You know, you're kind of making your own way, and you're kind of experiencing things as like it almost feels like you're a side character in the game. Like all this shit's happening to everybody but you, and then you're just along for the ride, and you know your decisions can affect the outcome of the game that kind of like sets your place in the world. And there's so much lore, and the lore in the games is not like a cutscene where some guy talks to you and says like, oh, you know, Link, 1,000 years ago, you know, you were beat by Calamity Ganon and put to sleep, and now you've resurrected, and Princess Zelda's blah blah blah. You literally just see it. You see the effects of everything, and it's kind of a common trope in Souls games to have the lore be written on items. Like it'll be like, you know, Lothric sword. The Knights of Lothric are extremely, you know, like religious or whatever, and they follow this god. And then like you basically get the lore of the game through item descriptions, and it's kind of a weird way to do it, but it's weirdly effective. And so for Bloodborne specifically, like there's so much external lore to the game that you would not know if you weren't like being super observant about every small little detail and every item description and like every line of dialogue that like a random fucking character says. There's so much happening behind the scenes that it just makes the world feel really like you know, there's moving parts to it.
Even then, I'd say like something like Bloodborne, it's worth looking up videos and like finding out what the lore is right before playing it. Because the good thing about the lore is like a lot of it is before, you know, everything really unraveled. So
right, a lot of the events that like, you know, you're seeing in Bloodborne happen way before the events of the game. There are like hundreds of years of shit that led up to Bloodborne that directly impacts the game, but has no like visual representation in the game.
Yeah, basically. And so I guess like that's the reason why like I myself love the game so much, because I played it once and I'm like, I really like the game, and then I watched like a video or two of it, and then I played it again, and then I noticed everything.
And you're like,
and I'm like, oh shit, that's insane. That is sick.
Yeah. And I think when we're talking about world building, it's kind of difficult to talk about games like GTA, like you were mentioning, Emmanuel, or Persona, because those games take place in our own world, and you know, world building has a lot to do with geography and history and like settings and ecology, right? Like it has to do a lot with the physical building of the world, and so with those games that are set in our world, they don't have to do a lot of world building to like the way that it's described.
Yes and no, because like I still think there's a lot of detail that goes into doing their specific iteration, right? A lot of little tweaks that make it feel like Persona as opposed to GTA, right?
Yeah.
I think that still would count as world building for me, and I can see that being argued as like, oh yeah, this is still a really well constructed version of our world, right? That has its own flair.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I think, you know, they can do it correctly.
It's certainly not as like impressive and unique and original as like Dark Souls and Bloodborne.
True.
I'm just saying like they don't have to describe the history of the world, like, oh, you know, this is, you know, World War II happened, and this is you know how it's set up for.
But at the same time, that almost like to me that feels like, since that kind of established perception of how this world kind of came to this exact spot that you're in, it almost allows you to focus more clearly, in my opinion, on like what's happening right now, creating your own context for how the world is right now and what you're doing in the game.
Right, because in those games like GTA Persona, you don't you're not discovering the history of the
shit.
world.
You're telling me there was some guy named Hitler?
Yeah.
And he did what now?
Oh, Pearl Harbor did what? No, you're
Persona!
you were just focusing on the events of the game, right? And they're fleshing out their small,
Their
the
bubble.
way that I think about it, it's they're bubbles, right? In Bloodborne, the bubble that you're focusing on is the entire world, and it's not even just the world. It's the cosmic, all of the universe is what you're focusing on in Bloodborne. But when you're playing Persona, you're not thinking about anything. You don't even think about the entirety of Japan. You're thinking about the one small little bubble that you operate the events of the game.
But specifically in relation to the characters.
And that's
too.
interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a little microcosm of what the world at large can be.
Mm-hmm.
And it can just be very focused,
Right.
You get a lot of really, really in-depth character moments with something like that.
Yeah.
Whereas Bloodborne is much grander, much more grandiose, but I kind of doubt you get to go play darts with your good friend Sir Reginald III
There's
and
no
have in-depth
smaller
bonding
stuff.
and small talk with him.
Yeah, they're just different. They focus on different things.
They've got different
Persona
goals in
is
mind.
all character driven, and the reason you play Persona is to, kind of hang out with the characters. It's all about the characters and the story, right? And the world is there as a stage to experience the story and the events.
But it's not about the world.
It's not about the world. It's not about Shibuya that the game takes place in. It's not about in Yongen-Jaya that you guys are hanging out. It's about the characters first and foremost, and that's what matters. And like I was talking about, well, for me, what makes a world feel alive when shit happens without you. In Persona, really nothing happens without you. You are there for everything, and whether you as the player character, Joker or whatever, are experiencing things. But if something happens in the game, you'll see it. They'll cut to it. You'll be watching a cutscene where Joker's not even there, but two characters are talking because that's how the game wants to tell its story. It's not you find something, you stumble upon something.
It's
you
kind of acknowledging you as the player,
right?
In perceiving the story rather than you as the player character, right?
Yeah.
If you're truly playing the role of Joker, you shouldn't have these contexts for these different little things. However, it acknowledges the kind of greater necessity of the plot and acknowledges that you as a player need the context for these moments to matter.
You'll see the bad guy talking to his lackeys and he's you guys have to go capture the Batman, and they're talking and saying and it's important as a player that you get the context that these things are happening. But in Bloodborne, you don't know anything besides what you're literally seeing with your own eyes.
It reminds me of this fucking post that destroyed me at 3 a.m.
It's a guy talking to the other guy.
No. It was what it was this dude was I just moved to Gotham because rent's 99 cents. I'm living in Gotham City, right? And he hears something at the window. He walks over, and it's I'm gonna catch you, Joker. This is the time I'm gonna get you. Finally, I'm gonna capture you. And the Joker says, "You'll never get me, Batman." Squeak, squeak, and runs away. And he's standing at the window and says, "Catch that motherfucker!"
That's so funny. Oh, that's great.
Anyway, so what's your least favorite world building?
Worlds that feel like pee pee poo poo.
Yeah. So I gotta tell you, I got one right here on the front of the dome piece.
One?
All right. Worst world building. I got two. Right.
Okay.
Two of the worst for me.
Because I can't think
one
of anything.
One of them is in a genre where you don't need any world building, right? So it doesn't really detract from the experience because you're not there for that. But when we played Streets of Rage 4, that was some of the fucking worst story and world building I have ever seen in my entire life.
The gameplay was fun. It was a beat 'em up, right?
Yeah, it was
You're running
fine.
around beating shit up.
But every time it was characters are talking. I'm Mr. X and this is my sister, Mrs. Y, and we're here to put drugs in the city and
it was some shit.
Wait! It's Mr. X and Mrs. Y, but they're not.
They're brother and sister.
They're not husband and wife or something.
Yeah.
They're brother. That's really weird.
And it's weird. You go talk to this person. You're who the fuck are you? They're I'm the serpent of the subway, and I'm gonna beat you up. I've been paid off by a mysterious. I've been paid off by a mysterious benefactor. Yeah. And then you go to the cops, and it's we're the cops, but we're mad at you because we've been paid off by a mysterious benefactor.
Yeah.
And you get to the final boss. It's Mr. X and Mrs. Y. We're the mysterious benefactor, and we're gonna stop you. and your character say some like mumbo jumbo like, "Oh, you're gonna get out of our streets."
Of
rage.
Yeah. Like,
These
like,
really
this
are the
fucking
streets of
blows.
rage.
This is so shit.
The gameplay was fun, and it was like, I would say it's a good game, but it's just like the world building and the
world building is not
characters.
good.
Like I just
so
don't give a shit.
cheesy and bad and poorly constructed. Like, it doesn't need it at all. But the fact that it was there and it was so shit was like actively detracting just a little bit, you know. And I was like, oh.
You know, I can think of one.
All right, let's hear it.
I think Sonic, kind of as a whole.
Can we
I won't name any
specifically
names.
focus on Sonic, where it's cartoon hedgehog Sonic making out
Yeah,
with
that's the
real
one-
life realistic woman?
That's the one I was thinking of in
That's
particular.
fucked up.
When you and it's like, oh, and it's all for the story. it's for
Chili
the world-
dog.
Chili dog, you know, like that's kind of weird, a little bit, a little
Music
weird. And then you know Sonic Forces, of course, with its excellent story and world and characters.
Characters.
Very good. And so that's the one that comes to
The
my
other
mind.
really bad one for me
Yeah.
is Base Destiny and Base Destiny 2.
Okay.
Really fucking awful, I gotta say. Because especially when Destiny first came out, 2014, you gotta picture the scene here, right? 2014.
Yeah.
You've been playing Halo 4 and Black Ops 2 and good ass FPSs with campaigns that are like engaging and fun and
Yeah.
characters and you know maybe not the best, they're pretty
Okay.
good. And then Destiny comes out. That's it. You fucking you're the Guardian, and they built up all this lore. Oh, it's the last city, and you're sieged by all these different alien races that want to destroy humanity, right? And then every bit of gameplay is, I'm the ghost. Oh, that wizard came from the moon. We'd better go get those guys. Hey, stick me on this door and fight waves of enemies while I unlock it. Oh, we found the sword of... All right, let's go back to the tower and tell Zavala. But there's no context for anything.
saying a bunch of words.
The minimal amount of time is spent on why anything that is happening and anything that is being said matters at all. And if you want to find that, it's not even in the game. You have to go online on the Destiny website, access your account, and look at the Grimoire card fucking, like, library website, right? Scroll through, be like, what is the sword of... And then it's like, 5 million years ago, when the Hive's first dark ritual commenced, they were born into this world by the logic of the sword.
The logic
And
of the
this
sword.
sword summoned Crota, son of Oryx, who now is in the moon. You're like, what? It's so fucked up how bad
It kind of
is.
sounds like they're just saying a bunch of words
Yeah,
and they expect you to be like, oh yeah.
And they fixed it a little bit in Destiny 2. Like, it's more accessible. It's in
Sure.
the game. You can actually read it in the game.
Good.
But when the game first came out, it was some of the fucking worst shit I have ever, like... Because, you know what the thing is? I was, like, 14. I was completely satisfied to be walking around. Okay, Ghost, yeah, I'll shoot these guys, sure. But, like, thinking back on it, it was so bad.
Yeah.
I didn't understand why anything was happening ever the entire time. I played that game. I put, like, hundreds of hours into the Destiny franchise. I don't know what the fuck was going on.
It sounds like, yeah, and I've played a little bit of Destiny 1 and a pretty decent amount of Destiny 2, and it does really feel like when you're playing those games, the story is an afterthought. Like, I
Yeah.
genuinely don't remember anything.
Which is weird
that
because the
happened in
gameplay
that
feels
game.
like an afterthought most of the time, too.
Really?
Except for
Because I
raids.
felt like it was like the raids and like the PvP was where
Raids and PvP were
they
thought out.
felt like...
But you play the actual main campaign, you're like, what were they thinking? This is just sit in front of door and shoot 3 waves of men for 20 hours. Like, it's so fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I know. It's weird. Destiny's a weird fucking world building example.
You know, it's kind of strange, but I really do enjoy games like, just for example, Valorant, like their world building, right? Because you're like, what? It's just CS:GO. Like, you know, you don't even think about like the characters or like the environments, but everything is super fleshed out and everything has a story. All the characters have relations to the stages that they're playing on, like, and then all of the characters have relations with each other, and they will reference it in game. And it's like, they don't need that. They didn't have to do that. It's CS:GO, right? It's not like when you're playing CT and versus TN and it's like, you're my brother, and they betrayed the family and joined the terrorists. There's nothing like that.
Yeah.
But then, like, you load into Valorant and it's like Scout plays Sage and I like to play Viper, and then like Sage will go like, Viper, rethink my offer, and it's like, no, you can't help me now, and you couldn't help them. Like, don't talk to me. And it's like, who's them? Who's them? Like, you can't just say shit like that and not explain it.
Really cool.
Like,
honestly.
it's really cool. And then like, there's one map called Bind that you play on, and Viper goes like, the lies we fed to the city just to bleed it dry, and it's like, what? Like, there's so much that it sets up for, and I just like, I want to go read the lore. Like, it makes me really want to go and Google like, what lies did they feed to the city? Who didn't
what lies did they feed to
save?
the city?
Yeah.
Like,
I guess another one that I feel does that very similarly in a good job is Apex.
I was
actually.
just
It's
gonna
like,
say.
I've looked into the Apex lore a good amount just because I thought it was interesting. When we were all
Why
playing
did
it a
Watson
lot.
build the
Watson
wall?
built the walls
Why?
that make the tournament a thing.
Why?
To make the tournament work. I don't know.
It's a
Shut the fuck
tournament?
up. Yeah,
Just
it's
for
the
fun?
Apex Legends tournament.
Okay.
All right.
They're just having a fun time?
No, not having a fun time. They're killing each other.
But they're having
Avery.
a fun time.
Avery. It's quiet time.
It's a tournament for
I'm
fun.
talking about other stuff right now.
I like that
Rampart.
Maggie
I
is
like that
Yeah.
Rampart built Octane's legs, and she like built this and that. Like she was the tech for everyone before she ever like joined the tournament. Like that. Those character interactions were there.
Mm-hmm.
How Revenant was like the world's best assassin, and he killed this rich family, leaving the daughter alive. And now the daughter is Loba, and she's in the tournament specifically to fucking kill Revenant. Then she had the opportunity to, and he was into it because he hates being him. And she was like, "Now fuck you. Now I'm going to make you even more alive." And now he's pissed off at her back. And, like, the developing character interactions with, like, connections outside of what's going on in the immediate story is really cool. And especially the dialogue you get with certain team comps is very interesting.
Loba literally says "fuck you" to Revenant in the game.
Does she?
Yeah,
That's great.
Yeah.
I love it. That's what I'm
good.
here for.
they hate each other.
That's
That's
really
pretty
funny.
good.
I literally didn't
I
even know that,
wouldn't
but that's
even
really
know.
cool. I love that, like, we get character interactions like that. I'm sorry, but that just reminded me of the voice line of Sky. If she defuses the bomb, she's like, "Get the fuck out of here!" Like, it's so funny. And I love her Australian accent. It's so funny.
I also love that. Imagine if I die right now.
Oh yeah, the Killjoy, if she's defusing the bomb but she doesn't have enough time left, she go like, "Imagine if I died right now."
Wouldn't that be funny?
Yeah, she literally says that. Wouldn't that be funny? Yeah,
God.
it's so
That's
funny.
how you used to hear that line. And you're like,
It's like,
Yeah,
oh,
I
shit.
know. No, yeah, Viper has one. She goes shit, and I'm like, oh god damn it! Like, I don't have enough time. That's how you know you don't have enough time. Basically, is you hear the
Run.
voice line. Yeah. Oh, that's
yeah.
so funny.
Yeah, those kinds of world building like tropes are really cool. I think.
You know, I just thought of this one. I might catch some flack for this, but you know which game has a great extended universe and some really good lore?
Super Smash Brothers Brawl.
Is Five Nights at Freddy's.
Fuck.
I have looked at so
Okay,
much lore,
all right,
and there is
all
such.
right. I'm gonna
The
give it
thing
to you.
is, it's cohesive. Like,
Good work, Scott.
you
Coffey.
know-
It's
if it-
capable of having like 7 game theory episodes.
I was
like
gonna say
8 or
if
9.
it didn't have the lore, it wouldn't have the YouTube
Yeah.
following. So
like there is, like, say what you will about the games and milking the franchise and whatnot, but it has some really extensive lore, and it represents all that shit in the gameplay, right? Like, there's not like a like www.fivenightsatfreddy's.com where you can read about the
yes.
lore of the entire game, and you can go see like what's up with the Bite of 87, and they have like funny little like animations and stuff, like
Markiplier video.
it just it
that the Bite of 87?
it represents everything in the games. Now the newer games shoe it in a little hard.
Really?
Like there'll be like watch the purple man kill the boy, and then
Oh,
he
yeah.
goes into the suit, and they're like doo la da, like
Yeah.
they're just like, oh look at it, it's that thing. But like in the older games, like 1, 2, 3, you kind of like
You had to piece
see
it
that
together.
stuff. You kind of piece it together.
Yeah.
Right? You're like, what the fuck is up with Golden Fred? What's he doing here? Like,
Yeah.
why is that? Why when I click on this guy's nose, why does it make a beep? Like,
Oh.
what's all that about?
Why is Chica so thick in the second
No,
one?
why am I attracted to the
You see that
animatronic?
clip of the dude playing, and he's like, ah! Hey! He puts on the mask, and then he opens up, he's like looking at Chica right there, and he's like, damn, fuck the shit out of that robot. He puts
That's so funny.
You're absolutely right though.
You would fuck the shit out.
No.
I was gonna say, what the fuck,
I was talking
Avery?
about
You're
you-
absolutely right. You would fuck the shit out of that robot.
I'm talking about just the lore in general.
Yeah.
You fuck that shit out of that robot.
It's put together. Like, you say
Yeah.
what you will, but the story and the world is very put together. All the games connect to each other.
Yeah.
Everything makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a good world building. It's a good example
Real
of
quick,
world
I'd
building.
also like to mention just my favorite type of world building as well. Real quick,
Mhm.
just Avery, it's your turn next.
Okay. No, okay.
I like. Wait for it. Hold on. Drum roll. Mother
Yep.
Like-
Of course.
and Mother 3.
You
and
said favorite
Undertale.
type of
I was
world
gonna
building.
say
It's,
that's
no,
what I
it's
was
okay.
saying.
It is the type. Is Undertale, Deltarune, Amori, Mother 3,
okay,
Mother
I
2.
understand.
Like
Gotcha.
the type of world building I would call it is there's something interesting happening around every corner, right? Everywhere you go, it's unique and interesting, and
It's like an event.
you're like, whoa, what the fuck is that?
And there's usually
Right.
little clips from characters too.
Yeah, little quips, right? It's a type of world building that doesn't necessarily take itself so seriously, but absolutely can, especially with games like Amori and Mother 3 that get very fucked up. More Amori than Mother 3 in the fucked up department.
Yeah.
But like they have very serious stuff beneath the surface, but it's this kind of childlike whimsy that you wander through and experience it. Everything is a joke and a funny and a quip until it's not. And I think it's really interesting how that works. Mob Psycho takes a lot of cues from how Mother's worlds are constructed in that, it's obviously, little psychic boys, but also the fact that everywhere they go in Mob Psycho, it feels like this unique little interaction with these characters that have their own lives and their own stuff going on around every corner. And I really, really adore that kind of world building.
It's alive.
It really does it for me.
It feels alive.
It's having everyone feel alive, even if like who the fuck is this guy? Oh, he runs the hardware store, but he's actually really lazy, and he's got these weird quirks, and he says this funny little dialogue thing. It's like, I wonder why he's like that. Just a weird little interesting man, and everyone is like that. I really like that.
Yeah.
It's what does it for me?
Nice.
Weird men.
All right.
See that meme I sent you where it was like sounding it in Basil, and I was like, what is that? You're fucking persona? Cringe. He's like, you're cringe. And he's like in the bathroom sobbing, and the something's behind it.
Oh my god.
So good.
That's great.
Yeah, that's my favorite type.
There you go.
Obviously, like Mother 3 and Mob being my favorite shit ever. So,
Hell yeah.
what about you, buddy?
I got
All right,
3
how's
games.
Mario doing?
3 games.
How's
Mario
Banjo doing?
I'm not. Banjo's not involved.
Oh,
What's Hollow Knight
really?
doing?
That's the one I was
Wait, which one?
I knew
Hollow
it. I knew that.
Hollow
You were
Knight's.
gonna
I
talk
love
about
Hollow
Hollow
that.
Hollow Knight's world building is one of my favorites. I think.
Mm.
Just because it's very, it's non-intrusive. I would say first and foremost. It's not like you were kind of saying in Blood. I would say it's very similar to how it seems the Soul series do it.
Yeah,
there's
I would
no-
say so.
not really any
It feels like a Souls
cutscenes.
game.
There's not really any of that. It's really you're kind of going around and you discover things through text, through dialogue, through the world, and you really don't really figure out the story until the very, very end. And even still, you're still kind of left like, I'm not really sure about
Right,
that. Let me
and
look that up on the wiki
Even though
real
you don't
quick.
figure
Yeah.
out the story, you're
Me
still being
finishing the
fed
break.
bits and pieces,
Exactly.
right? And everything ties together. You are being exposed to the direct events of what happened right before the game
Yep.
starts.
Like the
And-
repercussions.
Yeah,
The aftermath.
and the game world will evolve as certain events
Yep.
take place. Most notably, the first thing that happens is the first area of the game is called the Forgotten Crossroads. It's just like your beginner area. You got little piss baby enemies, and you
Yeah.
run around, you hit them with your piss baby weapon, and then once you do a certain thing, then it becomes the Infected Crossroads, where the basically the entire antagonist of the game is this infection that's taking over the bodies and minds of all the insects in Hollow Nest. It spreads to that area, the beginning area, so all the enemies are ripped now, even though it's the beginning area, so now you have to have the better weapons, and it's a lot more formidable to
Yeah.
be there, but they didn't have to do that. They could have just, left it as is, but it tells a story.
An evolving world is really interesting like that.
And it's
I would
very
say.
nice because it's one of those things that you don't know it happens either until you see it, until you get to it, and so it really feels like you just discovered
It's not
something.
like there was like a little pop up. It's
No.
like the crossroads.
Go
has
check
now
this out.
changed, The affected crossroads. Watch out, you know.
Right.
Really big and scary now.
No, you go there and you're
just
like,
go there and you're like,
oh,
what the
wait
fuck
a
is this
minute.
shit?
You know, and so it does an excellent job. And of course, the atmosphere with the visuals and the music, it's really
I
cool.
think what we're getting at here is tutorials are bad.
Tutorials are
Show
great.
don't tell.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Is the
Yes. Yes.
thesis of the episode today.
And then
On to the next. Or do you want to continue?
I said I had three
My
games.
apologies. My
Three.
apologies. I'm
second
sorry.
one, all right.
You guys
is,
said thesis statement.
is
and my
second
brain
one.
Said, okay.
Second one. Listen here. You listen here. Hades.
That's
Oh
Okay.
my god, you actually just
I was just
fucking
thinking
hit a
Hades
vein.
Dead Cells are like
Hades
so-
and Dead Cells does it too, but Hades does a similar thing.
Fucking world building.
It does a very similar thing with Hollow Knight. You go through, you learn as you go. There's no very rarely any like I would say traditional. You'd have dialogue, but they're not cutscenes. But you learn everything through the dialogue, and it's really interesting too because on one hand, they actually aren't developing their own world.
Mhm.
It's Greek mythology. They
Yeah.
have a world already, kind of, but there's some twists here and there.
They do
change.
take a little bit of a departure
Yeah.
from like the actual
Yeah.
Greek lore and like the events of
Yes.
the game.
They have like their preferred interpretation of it.
Yes,
Right, and which
exactly.
is totally fine because
I think
you
it's
know,
perfectly appropriate.
it's not like they're like rewriting a lot of the lore.
No.
They're just they're extending on and like they're giving reasons to like smaller events that happened.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like for example, I don't know, like Achilles being with Hades in the house and making the deal with him and everything. I
Right.
don't know if that's a real part of any Greek mythology,
Mhm.
and I have no idea. Or stuff like that. And so, but you learn and just talking to the characters. I
Yeah.
mean, it's incredible, and you learn so much about everything, and you just want to keep talking to them.
Yeah.
And you just learn, and you go through, and it's just, and the visuals all put together, and the colors, and the music. I mean, everything. It's really an amazing experience. I would say that's an excellent example.
And then another game that's like Greek mythology is Kratos, God of War.
Kratos got to work.
Like I don't know if you guys played this game.
I
So
haven't.
it
Kratos
just, like,
is just Kratos takes like every mythology. It's like let's go kill all of their
yeah.
gods
Yep.
Mm.
Yep.
in a span of like 50 hours. Every single time they did Norse mythology recently, didn't they?
Mhm, yep. On 4.
It's
On
fucked
4.
up. It's so funny.
It's
I
still
love the
really
mentality
fun though.
of
It looks
It's like
it's
okay,
just
which
gruesome.
culture's getting it next?
Yeah.
Where they go next?
Christianity. It's like,
Killing Jesus Christ.
Jesus, come here.
Yeah, that game was so really popular.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god, that'd be so funny.
Oh, man.
And then last but not least, Team Fortress 2.
I was actually thinking about that.
I think it's an interesting example in
It's got,
Um,
it's like a
Erasmus
dichotomy.
was Soldier's roommate.
Like the gameplay is like oh haha funny silly game,
Yeah.
and then just like the lore is just I think of like the troll face, but it's very like depressed.
Yeah.
That's the lore. It's like it is so fucked up.
Yeah.
I love the image of God saying like "See you on January 6th, 1984,
It's a
Scout."
date.
It's
Yeah.
like it's a date.
It's a date. It's really interesting though because it's one of those. It's a game where it's not really explained. There's a little bit in the game, with some of the lines, just a little bit. But really, a lot of it's outside the game.
It's in comics.
It's
and
in Meet
stuff,
the
and, like,
Team and the comics
videos.
specifically. But
Bread.
you love the characters,
Yeah.
because of the videos, and you're like, I mean, we always talk about them,
Totally.
and we still talk about them.
Yes.
And those videos were made like 2009.
I
And
would-
we still
dude,
talk about
I
them
would
to this
pay
day.
so much for a movie.
Oh my
animated
God.
exactly like the original. Like if you take the bread
Yeah.
the movie that's like 15 minutes and
Yeah,
make that a
Expiration Day.
full length feature film,
Yeah.
I'd be so on board.
Yeah, I know.
Unbelievably so.
And so it's really interesting to me that you can have a game like that, as silly
So I
as
can
it is,
teleport bread.
and
Knock yourself out, son.
and create such an interesting world with it that people are so attached to, and do it outside of the game too. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's really
I
cool.
sent this message in the Discord, but Miss Pauling is Viper. I was like,
The
Miss
voice?
Pauling's Enid.
yeah, Enid,
Yeah,
yeah,
Enid
but,
too.
and it's
that's
she's
cool.
a ton of other things.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
she's the Parvati from Outer Worlds, but like
Who did
Oh,
you
yes.
say? Who do you say? Omni-Man is?
I'm pretty sure it's Cave
Cave
Johnson.
That's so good.
Let me.
I
Yeah,
love
I'm
that.
gonna look it up because
Look
I'm
it up
curious.
right now.
We
I'm
can debate
so
that when we watch
addicted
it
to
later.
figuring out like similar voice actors. I love that shit.
Stephen Yeun, who was in The Walking Dead as Glenn, is in Invincible.
That's cool.
I was gonna
He's
say,
You know
like the
what?
main
Okay,
character.
I have a confession. Scout and I like to watch Vivzy Pop, and you know, like the Hell of a Boss. Have you seen Hell of a Boss?
Yeah, I've seen the first episode.
Hell of a Boss is pretty fucking good. I'm not gonna lie. We've watched all of it, and
It's not bad. Like the comedy in that one is a million
it's
times
so much better than Has
It's still
Been Hotel.
paced really.
They haven't done
strangely,
any more
especially
Has
at least
Been.
in the first episode that I watched. It was pacing.
Well,
His pacing was weird.
You know what? I
Yep.
feel like they released Has Been and then they released Hell of a Boss, and like the reception for Hell of a Boss was so much better than Has Been. I feel like they were just like, all right, let's go on this. But anyways, episode 5 is the most recent one. It came out like 2 days ago. Really fucking good. And you know who they got to voice like the bad guy for the episode is Daryl from The Walking Dead. Yeah,
They got Norman Reedus.
yeah, they got Norman Reedus.
What the fuck is Norman
to-
Reedus doing? He was in a Kojima game.
Yeah,
Now he's in Hell of a Boss.
And one of the characters, Mox, is voiced by Richard something, who does Invader Zim.
Yeah,
oh
yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah,
Of course,
yeah.
I hear that one is.
Yeah,
That's
that
one of
was
the main-
fucking amazing because
yeah.
I love that voice. Invader Zim is such an amazing show.
What is this pussy?
Oh my god.
The beans.
He is Cave Johnson. He's also Tenzin in Legend of Korra. He's also the lion in Zootopia. He's also
that's a pretty big one right there.
There was a lion.
He's the yeah,
That's the mayor.
The bear.
He's the main character in Klaus.
Yeah.
It's interesting that the voice though, like I don't.
Doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah, I want
He
to.
did
I mean-
commercials for Farmers Insurance.
Wait,
Wait, is he that guy?
It's
It's
That's
that guy.
Cave Johnson. Wait, so Farmers, the guy who's doing the
I was gonna say, is
like
it that
it's,
guy?
Like when you said that, I was like, oh, just some one commercial.
We know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two.
That's
And
that
it's
guy.
That's
And it's
Cave
Cave
Johnson.
and Omni-Man.
That's the
and,
most surprising thing is that's Cave Johnson.
And Kung Fu Kai and Kung Fu Panda 3.
Okay.
I don't know who that is. He's also Stanford in Gravity Falls.
He's Stan.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
He's
that's
Grunkle
huge.
Stan.
Yeah.
I believe that. Yeah, now that I'm thinking about
Yeah.
it, I love finding out voice.
He also
actors.
voices the yellow M&M.
He voices the fucking yellow Eminem. Dipshit Eminem.
He probably has more.
Go to
It won't
IMDb.
even list it on the Wikipedia page. There's a separate article for his performances. There's a separate article for
This
it.
guy's a legend.
Well, because he's like the guy in Whiplash.
8 video games, 76 feature films, 67 television series. Okay,
Calm
film.
down.
Let's see what else. Let's see what we
the
know.
Scout.
The Scout. Yeah.
No.
Let's see.
Anyways, let's talk about something while Avery
Yeah.
is
Yes.
doing that.
Spider-Man 2.
Yep.
Spider-Man 3.
Right, because he's the boss. He's the bring me pictures of
That's
Spider-Man
Cave
guy.
Johnson. Oh my god. Megamind. He's the warden.
Yeah.
Of course. Cats and Dogs, Revenge of Kitty Galore.
Of course.
Dude, this man was in everything.
Let's see. Adventure Planet.
You ever see there's this one like Mexican actor who's in like every movie where there's like gang and they've got like lackeys, you know, like a cartel with lackeys. He's in every single one and he plays the same character in every one. He's always Danny Gonzalez in every filmography. His entire filmography page is played extra Danny Gonzalez, played extra Danny Gonzalez, played extra Danny Gonzalez. That's not his name. That's the character he plays in every movie.
He's mastered the character, man.
He's mastered the character.
Man hasn't even mastered
Imagine
himself.
getting your agent calls you up and like, we need another Danny Gonzalez.
He's like, I'm in.
Yeah, we'll get my guy will work with you, but on one condition.
Yeah. So let's talk about goals in world building, right? Like, what kind of game like necessitates what kind of world building? How in depth you need to go for different games? Because like I would argue that like fighting games don't need an in depth world at all.
I was gonna say that's another one that's kind of like Valorant, where you know
It's
expanding.
the cherry on top.
Yeah,
than
and
a
it
core
can
part of
have really cool stories, but it doesn't need them at all. Like Street Fighter, I could not give less of a shit about the story of Street
I
Fighter.
like Urian and his lore a little. I
Yeah,
guess.
like it's just like the M Bison's the bad guy and everybody hates him, and that's literally the whole lore of the game. Is that every character hates M Bison, and every character's backstory has to do with M Bison. Literally, like that is it. Like if you look at someone's character, it's like father was murdered by M Bison, sister was murdered by M Bison, son was murdered by M Bison, was murdered by M Bison. Like literally, that is every character story. They're all related. Like Seth was made by M Bison.
Yeah.
And like,
Oh my god.
I think the one exception is like Urian and Gil, who are just actually the Illuminati.
But
Like,
I'm
what
sure
about
that
G?
they're connected to M
No,
Bison.
I mean, I know that Urian worked with him and now hates him. That's it, though. Like,
What about G?
he's the president of the
He's the
universe.
president
Of
of the
course, he's
universe.
involved with M Bison.
Well, how does but like how?
I don't know.
He
Just-
probably
has he
wants to
personally-
defeat M Bison.
Yeah.
Has he personally interacted? Is what I'm asking.
I don't know the lore. I'm not very good with but I'm pretty sure that's like he gets brainwashed by M Bison. That's how he turns into Q because he's like
Is
the
that what it
robot
is?
man.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but it definitely has to do something with M
We
Bison.
didn't mention League.
League has it's kind of like an extended universe. It is very interesting. It's kind of like one of those games where it talks about the lore in game. It shows, it doesn't tell. Like your character will be like, I remember you were at the battle of Pee Pee Poo Poo Fart Hill, and it's like, my father died in that battle. And then, the characters will talk to each other while you're playing, but most of the time in League, I'm just like, shut the fuck up, I don't care.
No, I was gonna say it's just like another Valorant. It's basically the same thing.
But
It's
they
a
have
cherry on top, but it's a maraschino cherry.
so
and you don't
much
like it.
lore outside of the game. There's if you go to the League of Legends website, there was probably 10 fat books worth of lore on the website. Like every single character has a story that you can read, like a good amount of
it's
text.
a world. It's 8 different regions, and then 20 characters per region.
And they in the recent years they've been spending a lot of resources, like hiring writers and artists and all that kinds of shit to flesh out their world.
So we have a question in the
I
chat.
see a lot of text over there.
Let's say yes. The Squidward Tennis Balls 1212 asks if there are any worlds in video games that we felt really, really invested in that had admittedly minimal world building, minimal music, minimal development, minimal environmental design, but we just felt super invested in.
Fallout 4.
You were really invested in it?
You feel that Fallout
Did
4
they?
was minimally built?
I feel like the opposite. I feel like they put so much into
I thought that was a question.
developing.
No. We're
the
talking about
world,
what had the
but I
least
didn't really
amount of
give a
focus
shit.
put into their world building, but you still felt really
You
invested.
felt
I
you felt
flipped it.
interested.
I
in it.
flipped
You
it.
flipped it.
Yeah.
What had the most, but you were least
Yep,
interested?
exactly.
in?
Yeah,
Fallout
Fallout.
4.
Yeah, no, exactly. 100% agree.
Agreed.
Yeah, Fallout 4. They tried so hard. It was like, oh, it's like the nuclear war, and you were asleep for 100 years in the cryostasis, and this guy stole your child and killed your wife. Yeah, and then I was like, I
My
don't
boy.
care. There's this dog over here.
My
This is
boy.
kind of tight. I got a cool coat and a laser gun. That's really all I gave a shit about.
This is
Story
kinda
not so
tight.
much.
Yeah.
But the opposite of that, where the game maybe didn't spend a whole lot of resources on developing their world, but it was still cool and nonetheless.
I can't think.
I
I
mean,
don't.
Very
because
hard
the
to
only
say.
kind of AAA titles don't really
Because there are
skimp
indie
out.
games I can think of that have the minimal stuff, but not ones that I was very invested in. Is the problem? Piku Niku was minimal, right?
Sure.
Capitalism bad, and it's a colorful, fun world, but
Based.
super. It's all just basic shapes and nothing, and I didn't really care about it all that
Yeah.
much. I played through the whole thing, but it was just okay.
I don't know.
That's a good question. Yeah.
It's kind of hard because you don't really remember things that have minimal effort put into their environments and world building
Yeah.
and shit.
Yeah, but that's the question is if there is an exception to that rule,
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously games where the focus isn't the story. I could say, oh man, I really like, I was gonna say Guilty Gear, but Guilty Gear lore is fucking awesome. I don't know, Street Fighter or Skullgirls. Yeah, Skullgirls.
I would.
Is
I
one
would
that-
say maybe Five Nights at Freddy's kind of fits the bill. 'Cause,
what?
I mean, there's
It's minimal, not minimal effort put into the actual world building itself, but
There's minimal
what you're presented with
representation.
is minimal. but people are crazy invested in it.
Not necessarily a lack of effort, but a purposeful lack of regular elements. The one I think of, I can think of particular things. So, for example, the lack of music and that type of stuff. Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild purposefully
having that
didn't
very
have music.
quiet nature, but that really lended itself to the rest of the world building. Everything else was really significant, and the lack of music, was part of that. But that was just the music, I would say. The rest of the world building was pretty significant.
Right.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of...
People had a bunch of complaints about how open-ended things were for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, like, when the game came out, a lot of people were, like, pissed about, it doesn't have, like, the grandiose soundtracks like the old games had. And,
This isn't even Zelda anymore.
right, yeah,
Right.
people
Where's
were...
my hook shot?
I'm trying to think of anything. I can't really think of anything that is...
I mean, the only thing I can think of is things that already have, like games that came from shows. Minimal effort
Sure,
and, like,
but
establishing.
it's already...
but
It's already established.
there, yeah.
Yeah. I guess. I really don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm not really sure.
Sorry.
Sorry. Yeah,
But-
can't answer that.
But does that say then that the only memorable games are ones with good world building?
I feel like...
Kind of seems
Kinda,
like it.
unless you have a game like COD or like...
Yeah, there's
Well, the
like
thing
a
is, like-
game where the focus it has nothing to do with the story.
You can
Yeah.
yeah. I was gonna say that, like, you can kind of skip over world building a little bit if you have really engaging characters, but engaging characters play into world building. They're engaging because of how the world has made them, a lot of times.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking, what's the lore in Undertale? There's humans and monsters, and then I thought about it for a second. I was like, yeah, actually, that's a lot.
Yeah, like
Even
the
though, like,
whole
your main
game is
focus
about
is in
world
being
building.
involved in the characters, there's a much greater context that kind of serves everything in the game.
So I guess that does speak to, that question kind of highlights how important it is for games, because I feel like we have no lack of extensive time playing all sorts of random ass games, from like small games to AAA games, mainstream to like obscure ones. I feel like between all of us here, we played almost every kind of game under the sun, and so the fact that we have nothing to think of when we're talking about games that like had shit ass world building but we still really liked.
And there's certain things like I would say like in a way I don't know, like Banjo-Kazooie, right? It's not really intense on the world building. There's some stuff and there's a story with characters that have these Bottles the mole. He lives here. He is a mole.
Yeah!
Like,
And
there's
they kill him and you say, no!
and then they kill him, yeah. And
Okay.
there's stuff like that.
What do you think about Mario 64, right? Because there's not like
There's not really much
there's
in there.
nothing there, but like
Mario,
fucking
come
amazing
over and
game.
have cake with me, haha. Oh, Bowser!
Yeah, it's like Bowser's in the
That's
castle. He has a bunch of stars, and that's it. You gotta go get him. That's it. There's literally no story.
Yeah.
But it's still an incredibly enjoyable game. But I think that just has to do with the environments and the movement. Like that's basically the two big flagship
And the thing is, too, it's still kind of like it. In a way, it's very weird.
The
it's
environment
still,
tells a little story.
I was gonna say the environment. It's still like this fantasy world.
they're
And you're
like-
oh, there's mushroom guys.
The
And there's,
game has a bunch of micro stories, right?
Yeah.
Like you're racing a Koopa up this hill.
Yeah.
You gotta give
that's
the
Koopa the
dolphin-
Quick.
Yeah,
you know?
that's cool.
That's Koopa the Quick.
That's my fucking brother's
Watch your
sister's-in-law, Koopa the Quick. Or you gotta return the fucking penguin baby to the guy.
Throw him off the
Or
cliff.
there's the fucking bomb at the top of the hill, and then he's like, blah, 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 and so you gotta throw him,
The Womp goes, ugh!
But I would say even for that,
I'm King Womp, motherfucker. I'm gonna squish you.
actually, you know what? The King Womp is like, yeah, people have been walking over me for years, and I'm just tired. Like he has a history behind him,
Pissed off.
and I'm pissed off. But even for that though, it's like okay, the music it kind of builds the environment. Like for the snow level, it sounds like snow music. For the slider, it's like this is fast and cheery, and all these things. I would say there's still elements of it in that are significant, as opposed to something that just
I'm trying to
doesn't
think
have
if
it at
we're
all.
being too literal with the definition of world building, because from what I gathered when I googled it, it seemed to be exclusively talking about the environment. It didn't really seem like it was including
I
like
think we're talking more
characters
about
or
building the experience.
music.
That's kind of
Yeah.
what
Or,
the entire.
like-
I'm thinking.
I know what we're thinking about,
Yeah.
but I think we might be using either the
Sure,
wrong word or
Well, as long
But
well, then maybe we can
regardless.
talk about then. We'll backtrack. Say okay. Instead, we're talking about the whole experience and the world building as a part of it. The
So
environment,
would
characters, all
world
these
building
things.
just be like ease of navigation in the world?
I think
No,
it's
I
just
think it
talking
would
about
just
like
be specifically-
environment, like I'm talking about like history,
The
geography,
lore, literally the lore,
ecology,
Yeah.
like setting, like
Yeah.
that
Okay.
sort of stuff.
Mhm.
So
Now, Squidward Tennis Balls 1212 has said, I think games like Inside, because you start the game having no idea what world you're in, and you have to use the context around you to figure it out. There's no beginning explanations. You just start and you have to learn the way. Love games like that. Little Nightmares 2. I think not knowing what you're starting with makes the stories even better because you build your own idea of the world before it's explained to you.
Just
I
talking
think
about
that
Bloodborne.
I think
Yeah,
that's
we
exactly
talked about
because we had
Bloodborne.
talked about
That
before.
That mentality of show don't tell.
Yes.
Yeah.
exactly, and I've played both of those games, and I love both of them. But that doesn't mean they have a lack of story,
No.
and it's not even like they lack in what they show you. They show you a lot, but it is entirely up to you to piece the information together. In games like, well, I guess in both of them, I very recently played Last of Us. The fucking Little Nightmares 2. I played that very recently, and there was not one word of dialogue in the entire game. Nobody says anything. It is an entirely silent game in terms of dialogue, but they show so much in terms of story, and you are responsible to figure it out all yourself. And the developer doesn't say anything about the story. There's no website, but there is so much that they show you that you can infer a lot of
that's
information
pretty cool.
onto the game story.
I think I have an answer to the question earlier.
Huh.
Any and all puzzle games. There's no world building, no story at all, but I'm engaged in the
I
game.
mean, Zelda's kind of
No, but that wasn't the question.
What was the
Whether or
question?
not you were engaged in the game, whether or not you were engaged in the world. That's the
world
question.
is? Okay.
That's why we were having. I think that's why we had such a hard time.
No,
'Cause-
the question is games that you felt invested in that had minimal world building.
Oh, okay. Okay,
So-
sure. So CS:GO is fun to play.
There you have it.
Let's go.
Case closed. But if we're talking
CS:GO.
ones with story that are minimal that I liked,
Sure.
Wonder Boy: The Dragon's Trap.
Yeah.
I like. There's the storytelling is you fought a dragon and the dragon turned you into a little lizard man and,
Yeah.
you're very upset about it.
Mm.
That's the world building.
I think it is.
that's it.
Classic games tend to do that. I mean, okay, Castlevania. You're Simon Belmont. Here's Dracula, and then some of the later ones were like, you know what, Dracula caused World War II.
What?
Yeah.
Actually,
That's the Genesis one. You're playing during World War II, and Dracula caused
That's
World War
fucked
II.
how the fuck did he do
I
that?
don't know, but he caused World War II because he's
Little
evil. Because he's
mustache?
so evil. No.
He just said that, and then World War II started.
Yeah. Or like Mario. It's Mario. It's Bowser. Every once in a while there's maybe a little twist on it.
No, not even that. The original Mario, you just climbed the ladders because Donkey Kong stole your woman.
Yeah, original, and then then you get into
That's the lore.
the spin-offs are actually
Hey, you big dirty ape! Give her back!
That's it.
the
the
spin-offs
lore.
usually have a little more like
Ooh,
the Mario and Luigi series, the Paper Mario stuff,
Yeah.
all that. But still,
RPGs tend towards having a lot more.
it's relatively
Yeah.
simple even, and so but those are games I like. Banjo-Kazooie, simple,
I forgot to mention something that really does it for me in games as well is like an evolving world,
Mhm.
right? Like we were talking about in Hollow Knight, how the areas change when you return to them. But what I like too is seeing an evolving hub world in a game.
I like
Forgot to
that.
mention.
I enjoy that in
Because like
particular.
Mother 3, you start in this little town and it's this country town with a bunch of hillbillies and hoogadas and everybody lives in there and they're very simple, right? And then Facade comes to town in chapter 3 and he gives everyone television and suddenly capitalism takes hold and you see the town get roads and get big buildings and everyone has TVs and appliances where before it was like living in the Stone Age. And then suddenly by chapter 7, chapter 8, everyone has left town and moved to Newport City, which is this facade, this capitalistic facade of a nice city with no substance beneath the surface. I just think the way it evolves from homey living in the country, everybody does everything for free, and you literally go into the store and it's like, hey, Flint, do you have anything to trade for what we got? No? Okay, you could just have everything, I guess, if you need it. To, yeah, it's gonna be $15 for this antidote. What's that? You're poisoned and dying? Don't got the money. Tough. Like, the way it evolves into that is really, really neat.
Yeah. Interesting.
Absolutely, I think it's very cool. Like a lot of Souls games do that, where you have a hub, and you find characters out in the world, and then they will come back to the hub,
Yeah.
and then you can like talk to them.
Doesn't the Bloodborne one's really interesting to me, because isn't it that like house with the field? I want to say.
So there's like the Hunter's Dream,
Yeah,
but then there's
exactly.
also Odin's Chapel, which I guess so Hunter's
They're both
Dream.
kind of hub areas.
Yeah.
Hunter's Dream is just for you. It's like your own like mental space, basically, that you retreat to.
Yeah.
And that kind of the only people in it are like you, German, and the doll, and no one else can really access it. Other hunters can, but it's like their own versions, like you know. But then Odin Chapel is kind of like the safe space. It's like actually in the physical world where you can send other characters back to like hang out or whatever.
Which I really like. There's some characters you have to have like specific dialogue in order
And,
to get them to get
like,
there.
certain things can happen depending on which combination of characters you send back.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I don't want to spoil anything, but there's some bad guys you can send. So, and you know, some spooky stuff
Yeah.
happens if you send the bad guys to the wrong spot and whatever.
And then there's little things too, like there's jealousy involved, and like with one character with another.
Yeah, some characters don't like other characters, and like you can have them together, but if you do a certain thing, then they're gonna fucking start butting heads, and they're not gonna like each other.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's
to the point where like if you take something
Yeah.
from one character, the other person, you can see the other person who doesn't like the character just stare at you guys.
yeah.
And
Like
then when you stop interacting, she just stops looking. But like whenever you guys are talking, she stares. And then if you go to get whatever that other person like offers, she will not give it to you if you have that other thing like in your in your item pouch or
because
whatever.
in the game, the healing items are blood, so you can
Yeah.
take like blood from one of them. It's like, oh, like give me your blood, and then
Mhm.
but if you try and get blood from the other one, she's like, no, fuck you. You have her blood. I don't want to give you my blood because you have her blood, and I hate her. So
Mhm.
it's like they're like so jealous, and it will escalate.
My favorite's the old man, the grumpy guy.
yeah.
He does the opposite of what he tells you. He's a skeptic, so if you tell him to go to Odin Chapel, he will go to Yosefika's clinic, which is the other option. But if you tell him to go to Yosefika's, he'll go to Odin.
Yeah.
And then when he gets to Odin and you talk to him, he's like, "Oh, I fucking knew it. I knew it." He just tells you like, "Oh,
you
you
are a
bitch.
fucking bastard. I knew.
I came here
You're a fucking
instead,
liar."
and you lied to me. This was the safe spot." And then throughout the whole thing, he tells like information about everybody else, but he's lying the whole time. So you have to like believe the opposite of what he tells you.
Mhm.
It's really
What a
funny.
guy.
Yeah,
What a stand-up guy.
But-
That's great.
Yeah, that's right.
Very big epic.
So, you guys want to talk about the extra bullet point I mentioned at the beginning?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
All right.
You're going.
What do you want? What type of game world do you want?
Is
I
that
want Pokemon.
I
Look
like
good.
Pokemon. God damn it!
Pokemon.
It always comes to this. We just want good Pokemon. Oh.
I don't want to start.
you want to start?
Okay, because honestly, the one that I thought about that I really, really would like is the one that I used as an example. I want One Piece. I want One Piece.
I
but
thought there was a
here's-
One Piece game. that
Listen to
everybody...
me. Nuh-uh. You shush. Alright? Every One Piece game does the same bullshit fucking thing, and I hate it. Every One Piece game is, I'm Luffy, and this is my crewmate, Zoro and Sanji, and we're gonna go fight the Marines, and this specific pirate who killed my brother. Everyone just is so completely content to do exactly what the actual story of the show is. And I think that's the fucking worst thing they
I
could
feel like a
do.
lot of anime games do that. They
Yeah,
just-
it's
they
shitty and lame.
Dragon Ball
Play
Z.
through the events of
Yeah,
the show.
I hate that.
I
I
hate
think
that too. Yeah.
One Piece, a One Piece game where you make your own pirate, right? You can go to all the same islands, but you can go to whatever islands you want too, and you have to actually go find a crew of like unique game original characters, or even make characters. I don't fucking care.
Sure.
Like, there is so much you could do with that.
You want the universe of the game, but you don't want the story of the
Yes.
game. Or excuse me, the show.
Yes, because here's the thing. One Piece is by far the most fleshed out media property out there. There is nothing with a more completely constructed, vast world than One Piece in existence, and I will stick to that, alright? Game of Thrones can eat its heart, right? Eat your heart out, Game of Thrones. Fucking this world has been in development for 20 years with an ending in mind from the beginning. So everything's like kind of built with a purpose.
It hasn't ended it yet.
No, not yet. They're planning to go for 1,500 episodes.
How many are they at right now?
Like nearly 1,000.
Okay.
But the thing
is it still good?
yeah, it's gotten better again.
There's a YouTuber who like does
It's
like
the
videos
world-
on every
yeah.
single episode that comes out. So
Yeah.
it's
the world is incredibly solidly constructed, right? From commerce to like each island and their society and like how they live in this environment, to like the different fauna and flora on every island, to like any detail you can think of, it's been thought out, and it's insane.
What's up with the little deer?
With the little deer,
The little dog.
he was a
Deer
normal
dog
deer,
man.
and he ate one of the devil fruits. He ate the human fruit that turns a non-human thing into a human.
Oh.
So he can he just got the ability to stand on two legs and talk.
Yeah, isn't that like the whole show revolves around like magic fruit?
Yeah, so devil fruits, they're super fucking cool. Any power you want, you make it a 2-word. You say, I want the power to be cut up into little tiny pieces. Here's the cut fruit. And the whole gimmick is because the whole world is nothing but islands. There are no solid land masses really. Everyone has to travel by sea all the time. That's why pirates are such a big thing. But the whole thing with devil fruits is that if you eat one, you lose all ability to swim. Right? If you hit water, you're sinking like a rock, and you can't do nothing about it. So like you get this awesome sick power, but if you go in the ocean, which more than 70% of the world is water. There's very little big landmass. You're just dead immediately unless someone swims down and carries you
Can
up.
you be like, my power is to swim?
No,
Well, you can't do that?
swim.
I mean, hypothetically, you could find a swim
underwater.
fruit that just makes you a normal person, though.
Yeah,
No,
and then
that'd be a
you
fucking
eat
lame
it, and then
fruit.
it's just back where you started.
How about breathe underwater? How about you find 2 fruit?
But then you just be a fishman. That's one of the races is fishman, and mermaids are another race.
So why don't it be like Fishman, and then you find a mother fruit or something? You get lucky. You find 2
If a
fruits.
fishman eats a fruit, he can no longer swim.
Yeah, but
You lose the ability to swim when you eat the fruit.
you could still like breathe underwater.
Sure, but you'd just be stuck forever.
You could still get out.
You can't move when
You
you're
can't
underwater.
You
move
just
when
can't
you're
move.
underwater.
Yes.
I thought it was like you just sink, and I'm like, you can just walk
No,
along the bottom.
no. Okay, so you eat a devil fruit,
Sure.
you get a power, but you can't swim. You just like freeze and sink.
You freeze.
Pretty much, yeah.
Can you be like,
Have they shown that?
power of
Why
not
are you
freezing.
trying to? The
I'm just
world is
asking. Like, has it ever been
Is-
considered?
Oh, that
That
probably
probably
sounded
hurts.
really good. Avery goes, no, you didn't hit me with your lightning bolt. I actually had lightning bolt resistant armor.
Yeah.
Actually.
No, I'm
Avery,
just
I don't
asking.
understand
I'm
what
just
you're- I don't
asking.
Actually, I
understand
dodged
what
your
you're
Has
laser
it ever been
beam.
considered that someone could be like,
Okay, this is like the one hard rule of the world. If you eat a devil fruit,
Okay,
you can't
okay,
swim.
okay.
That's it. That's the
it.
one
That's the
like
one thing.
hard
Why?
rule that there are no exceptions to.
Why?
That's just the fucking. That's
I'm
how
just
they did
curious
the
if there's
powers.
a
Premise
reason.
of the show.
If there's a reason why, like, does it devil?
The lore
Yeah,
is
what's the
that
lore? That's what I'm
the
asking.
lore is that the original pirate like stole this from the gods and they cursed them. We made it the devil fruits or some shit like that.
Oh.
All right, it's just
Okay.
it's a means to an end.
Okay. All right.
So it's the one thing.
Have
What
they
if it-
shown someone sink in the show?
Yeah, absolutely. The main character like jumps into the ocean every other episode because he's a fucking dumbass.
How about you get super hydrophobic.
What the fuck?
You just
are
push the
talking
water.
about?
It doesn't touch your skin. Just pushes it away. You don't touch the water ever. Hyper hydrophobic. That's what I'd say.
So I think it would be a fun game. If you could just,
The rain would fall.
I hate you.
Like repelling forces on a magnet.
This is the dumbest. Why? Just let me have my game that I'm
I'm
talking
glad
about.
we've derailed already.
No, David, you should be able to make up your own powers in the game.
That's fucked up.
True.
Hyper hydrophobic.
I think there should be a lot of options, but I don't think you should fucking make them up. I think what it should be, all right, my ideal game because this is my scenario.
This is, the whole world revolves around Nathan.
Sounds
We're
like a
talking
TV
about
show.
our ideal property that we want turned into a game. This is my turn. You're interrupting my turn. You're disrespecting me.
Please continue.
All right, I think you should start as a normal man or woman.
Man.
Right. And you eat the man fruit. No, I think you should start as a normal guy who is going to be a pirate, and you sail around. You start on some dinky little island,
You're a
Wind Waker
pirate?
style, right? Gameplay is similar to Wind Waker in that you sail around from island to island, but they're really like fleshed out and fun with unique stuff to do on each one and unique characters. And you can recruit people at different ones, right? You can get your own crew of characters who are like game exclusive for the most part. You can't go find fucking Chopper and Luffy. I don't want that, right? Find your own unique crew, and everyone's crew is going to be different because you can recruit, a good number of people, right? There's a good number of options, right? And I think the devil fruits should be scattered around the world, and you can find them, and you can get devil fruit powers if you want, but you can also spec into being a swordsman or a fighter or like whatever, right? I think you should have total freedom in how you want to play the game. I think that would be really, really sick. Just have it be fucking huge and sprawling, and you get treasure, and you fight dudes, and you get your crew gets like infamy. You have to fight the navy a little bit. Like I think all that shit would be tight as hell.
That'd be fun.
Yeah,
Sounds fun to me.
Yeah.
that'd be a very big epic. I think
I'd have to watch the show
it'd be
Yeah, I
cool.
would-
in order to really.
Yeah, I think it should be kind of standalone,
Yeah.
So I was
In
gonna
game
say, I think
first.
that'd be good.
Mhm.
but I think using the world because of how well developed it is would just be the cherry on top for anyone who has watched it.
Yeah.
But I do not at all think it should be a prerequisite.
Okay.
I want to subvert expectations here and go the other way around. I would like to see a game series made into either a show or a movie, and I think having a Legend of Zelda movie would be fucking very epic.
Nintendo recently said that they're looking into animation besides the Mario movie.
Really?
It's
Maybe
gonna
they
be
don't
a
like how
Mario?
it's going.
No. They just, they.
We've decided to cut ties with Illumination.
But they're looking into more animation.
Good.
So
I'm glad.
Okay.
who
That
knows
is
what
very
means.
cool.
Everyone's first thought, of course, is Legend of Zelda movie,
Right,
which would be
'cause,
good.
every time there's a Mario thing, there's also an equal Zelda thing. It's like they
Usually,
kind of
yeah.
just go hand in hand.
Can I just, I just want to state, if they do end up doing a Metroid movie like people have asked in the past, I
really
do
care.
not
Don't
want
let
Captain
Brie
Marvel.
Larson.
Yes, I don't want Brie Larson anywhere near it.
Don't let Brie Larson anywhere near that fucking movie.
Don't let her ruin Samus.
I don't even. I wouldn't care if there's a Metroid movie or not. Quite honestly,
I mean, yeah.
it'd be fine. I don't know.
Yeah, you could.
Metroid's fine. I never
But
really
Evan,
cared about it.
what
Though.
would you like to see made into a game?
Made
I respect
into
the
a
Zelda
game
pick, but
from a show.
doesn't.
or
I mean,
a movie.
it could, okay. Here's the thing: as broad as you want, you could specifically say, "I want a Game of Thrones game where I specifically get to play as
Does
the
it have to be
innkeeper
based
and
off of
serve
something,
alcohol." Or you could say, "I want a high fantasy game with these elements." Right?
Okay.
It does not have to be an existing property. That's just you can.
I really would just like a good MMO. Honestly, like there's not really like a world. I like a general like Dungeons and Dragons like 5e kind of world, but I just want a game that's like an MMO that doesn't suck ass. Because I can't think of an MMO that doesn't suck ass, right?
No,
Like every MMO is the same fucking collectathon, like Slay Quest type
Grind.
bullshit, and the HUDs are always ugly as fuck. Like I just want one MMO where like you can hop on with friends.
problem is,
and
I think it's
play,
the genre.
and like
I
I think
think
it
it's
is
a
the genre.
Like you'd have to change the genre and.
I think
make
it would just be so costly that no one will do it.
Yeah.
Because I think it could totally be done. I don't think MMOs are inherently bad games.
Sure.
It's just
but
like
it would
I
be
can't think of a single
expensive.
one that's like good and fun to play.
You know which good one we missed out on here in the West? The Dragon Quest MMO. That was apparently really, really good.
Oh, and it's like a server
Japan
offline
exclusive.
right now.
And yeah, it's
right?
completely
Or, like,
offline now. But it was like it was pure Dragon Quest gameplay, but you got to recruit dudes and play with your friends online.
That's fine. Yeah.
I just want to play games with friends. You know,
Yeah,
that's like
that's
the
true.
best
Mhm.
part about playing games.
Yeah.
Playing games with the homies.
So
Need more games.
Hmm.
Let us play with the homies.
Avery, what's your ideal game, huh? Big man?
Banjo-Kazooie 3.
No,
I know.
I deny you this.
Well, I really don't know. That's a tough one. I kind of want, I want another Minecraft, if that makes any sense. Like, I want a really cool sandbox game. I like sandbox games. However, I want it, 20 times more in-depth than Minecraft. But not too in-depth. I say I'm really picky. I want not too in-depth, But I want
Terraria
I know.
Minecraft. is
I
what
want
you
Terraria Minecraft, but yeah, that's about what I want.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
So,
Maybe
You want
how about
Roblox.
you?
I don't want Roblox.
Fuck, man. Yeah, I don't know.
It's a tough thing, yeah.
It is a tough question. Well, see, like, I like Hunter x Hunter a lot, but I feel like...
It could be cool to just... I think if they fleshed it out and
Yeah.
made it, you get to be your own hunter and you can choose any fucking field to go be a specialist in, and
Mhm.
each one's pretty equally fleshed
I think
out.
that would be
That
sick.
would be
Yeah.
sick as hell. Because, I
Yeah.
mean, they're fucking gourmet hunters who cook food, and there's treasure hunters who go get treasure, and archaeological hunters who dig up bones and shit.
Yeah, exactly.
If you could choose a specialty like that,
Mm-hmm.
that would be sick. I think that'd be really
I
cool.
really do like games where it's like, or like even in shows where it's like a school setting, but it's not like a school, like a traditional school. It's like a hero school or like a wizard school, or like you choose your thing. You're like, oh, I'm going to be. It's like you were talking about, like, you know, I'm just like I'm a treasure hunter, you know, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I think a game like that would be cool. Like where
Just
you
a
make
lot
your
of freedom of
character
expression.
and then you get
Yeah.
to choose like what your specialization is. Something like that would be really fun.
Although it'd
That's
be
like, yeah.
pretty hard because what we see in the show is just the combat.
Yeah, of
It's
course.
really just the combat. So, I mean...
And honestly, none of the characters we mainly see as the main cast, none of them are an archetypal hunter. Like, they're just guys doing their own thing who happen to have gotten hunter licenses because it was the most
Exactly.
convenient.
Yeah.
We don't see a gourmet hunter and a treasure hunter. I mean, Jing is technically an archaeologist, one, right?
Yeah, archaeologist treasure or something
I
like that.
think, but
Yeah.
he's like the most specialized hunter we see in the main cast, and he's only in like the last 30 episodes or so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
But I think it would be really cool to do that.
I just don't know what kind of game it would be, though. That's...
The thing is, it could honestly change genre like every little arc, the same way the show does.
Yeah.
Because the show goes from exam arc to tournament arc to like combat tower to like New York City auction hood crime shit with the spiders
And
like
then video
video
with
game
whole new like mechanics.
to like fucking Lovecraftian horror, fucking like it hops. It's a political. It
Yeah,
hops genre
political,
every
yeah.
new arc, and I think a game that does that would be super fun.
Yeah.
I mean, you essentially have to kind of build a new game
Mm-hmm.
within each arc,
Yeah.
with maybe a framework that kind of fits across them all. But I think that would be so sick. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, I think the idea of specialization in games is really cool. Like, you know, you have a bunch of different people playing, and like everyone has a different job. Like, you know, I the idea of MMOs is really cool. Like, oh, you got a tank. One guy's a tank, and he taunts all the enemies, and then you got the DPS. The guy's like shooting, and you got your healer, and like your mage or whatever. I think that shit's really cool. There's this one VR game that I think about specifically. That it's like a Star Trek VR game, and like one person's the captain, and then like everyone else has like sitting at their stations, right?
Yeah.
So like all your friends are in VR. One person's the captain, and then you're like, we need like divert 20% power to shields, and like 60% power to like rear thrusters, and like, you know, the last 20% to our guns, and then you're like, all right, and then you like actually have to like each person actually has to do
Yeah,
that.
I like that.
One person's the engine guy, right, and he's controlling all the diagnostics for the engines and all the sliders and the levers and the shit, and like one guy's steering the ship, and the captain's telling
Yeah.
them all to do the shit.
That was Sea of Thieves gameplay.
I was
I'm
actually
steering.
Sea of Thieves.
I'm working the masts. I'm scooping all the water out the bottom because you crashed into a big rock.
Yeah.
Like, everyone had a really rigid, like, not rigid, but, like, a very important role to play that was very diverse.
There used to be this game called Guns of Icarus that I loved, and it was on Steam, and I played the shit out of it. And basically, it was kind of like a deathmatch game where you would get into a game, and you'd have a bunch of they're like airships, right? That's like a big balloon, and you got like a ship underneath
Yeah.
it, right? And you're fighting against like 4 other teams, right? And each ship has like 4 players on it, and one person's like, you actually choose classes before you start. One person's like the captain, and they drive, and they have like a long telescope, you know, they like zoom in and they can see other people. And then one person's the engineer that runs around and like repairs all the engines and shit, and like puts out the fires, and like another guy is like on the guns and stuff. And so like you literally like, the gameplay from each class is entirely different. Like, the captain is only driving the ship around, they're like navigating around to other ships, and like the engineer's only like fixing stuff, and then like the gunners are only shooting.
Yeah.
And so the game is completely different for everyone, but everyone has to like communicate and interact with each other in such a unique way. I thought that game was really cool, and that kind of it's exactly like the specialization thing that I was
Yeah.
talking about. I think it's cool. I want to see more of that in games.
I think a couple franchises. I thought of 2 franchises that I think would really well lend themselves to the MMO genre. I was just thinking about this, and in completely different ways. I think Avatar: The Last Airbender, where you actually
kind of bender.
Yeah, you actually go live, like you choose one of the 4 nations to start in, and then you get like, I don't know, I'm brainstorming, like I think it would be sick to have big scale battles where huge player versus player events where you actually like, oh, the water tribe's coming out in force today, oh shit, it's the fire nation, and it's not necessarily one nation is like all the bad guys like in the show, but I think actual competitive, this tribe has like a ton of power, like a ton of players right now. This is fucking crazy. We got to get some more people in the Earth Kingdom and fuck them up. Like, I think that would be really, really cool and interesting.
I've always wanted a game where like shit actually matters.
Yeah.
Like one faction actually gains territory. Like they take territory away from another faction.
I think doing that on a huge scale with Avatar would be really good.
And
just
like
because of how
actually having
divided
like
up
mass
they are.
player v player battles, which like doesn't really there's no game that does that.
There's one. It's a revolutionary war game. I don't know what the title is, but I've
Mountain Warblade.
Maybe
Wait,
no.
is
It's the one where the guys are always using.
Come on, lads!
Yeah.
Let's get them.
And it's like literally like 60 people on either team.
Oh,
and
are
it's
you
just
thinking about Mordhau?
no. It's a revolutionary war game. It's
I'm trying to think.
it's there's always I don't know the title, but it's they're always using voice chat in it, and it's like proximity, and it's just so.
Let's go get him, lads!
about.
And he fades out and runs
you're
into
talking
battle,
about.
and you see his corpse like fly up with like just
And there's
distant,
like there's some semblance of like the game is really minimal too. Like there's like barely any UI, and nobody's like, but there's guys running around like acting as captains and being like, okay, let's go over here, right? And then there's just soldiers, and you can hear the other team talk, and there's just like they're screaming profanities. It's really hilarious.
The thing is, I'm thinking Avatar with like
Sure.
maybe gameplay similar to like actual combat.
Yeah,
gameplay,
right. Of course.
Similar to maybe what's that? What For Honor?
Yeah.
For Honor
yeah.
combat, but with huge scale.
What I was thinking, we
Would be
can
really fucking
we can
fun.
push it off of the tournaments in Legend of Korra.
Yeah.
Like just from that.
Well,
like,
you could.
the
I think it would be
combat
cool.
system
You
in
get
there.
the combat system for the big battles,
Yeah.
right? But you could also do sub game modes that like earn territory or something. I don't know, where you do like the bending sports from Korra would be sick,
Yeah.
right? Or you do like races between an airbender on a glider and like a waterbender like surfing on an ice cube they made. You know?
Ice cube.
Shut up! I don't know. I think just like little like unique interactions between nations in different ways would be really cool too. All that shit would be really cool. Or you have like a player hub zone, the city from The Legend of Korra that's not technically in any of the nations, where you can go meet up with your friend who happened to choose Fire Nation and you choose Air Nomads. You're like, what up, pussy? We're gonna beat the shit out of you tomorrow at the battle of like South Island or whatever.
Right.
Like it would be great. I think it would be really, really
fun.
cool. The other one that I think would really lend itself to MMO is if the concept, just the concept, let me make that clear one more. Just the concept of Sword Art Online. All right?
Yeah.
I mean,
All players starting
there's
off
so
on
many
one.
Sword Art Online games, and they all suck ass.
Yeah, they're all fucking terrible because none of them are doing what the game is supposed to be. It's
Right.
supposed to be MMO where all players start at level 0 on floor 1, right? And in order to, there's like 100 floors that are all their own fleshed out worlds, and if anyone beats the boss of a floor, that unlocks access to the next floor. And I think it should be restructured a little bit so that you have to beat the boss in between in order to actually go to the next floor.
Yeah.
But I think it should be like a huge community drive to unlock all the floors, right?
Yeah.
Where, oh my god, this clan's been really working at it. They cleared 3 floors like in the last month. That's crazy. Right?
Yeah, I think it should be shit like that, where like you have to go to like the dungeon on the floor, and like
And the game celebrates whoever clears it.
Literally,
right,
like
first.
insanely fucking difficult. So it's not like one guy can just go do it. Like it takes like concerted efforts from like clans of people and like
Yeah.
months of time to like clear a floor and like it records the achievements. Like, oh, this clan did this, and like once
Right.
they beat it, like everyone can go
It's
up to the next
immortalized
floor.
on that floor, though. These players cleared this
Yeah.
floor first. Like, you got them to thank, right?
Mhm.
I think that would be
But
the
it's not
coolest
like
fucking thing.
like
community
it's not just
drive.
like 3 guys can just run and like do it
Yeah.
all. It
No.
has to be like insanely difficult.
And I think it should be like an experience that takes like a year or two to really clear the whole game.
Mhm.
Like, I think an MMO with that kind of progression would be sick. Like, that would unite a community like nothing else ever has.
Because like it's not like the developers are like releasing updates. It's just like, oh shit, like guys,
They
we
got
beat the
access.
floor, and now there's like this new material, and we can make new weapons, and we can do this shit, and like that would be sick. That would be like genuinely sick.
In
as fuck.
concept, it would be the coolest MMO of all time.
Yeah.
However, Sword Art Online fucking blows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The show sucks. It's great concept, but very poorly executed. And I think if that was a real game, I'd be all over that shit. I'd be grinding all
Yeah.
day long.
What's
But-
that game where like you do raids a lot in? Not Destiny.
Mhm.
It's a little old.
I don't know.
Fuck.
No idea.
RuneScape.
Yeah, RuneScape. And
Yeah.
then there's another game, that was alive during RuneScape days. It's like dungeon.
Warcraft?
Yeah, Warcraft.
Warcraft.
Yeah, wow.
Wow.
World of
Wow.
Warcraft.
World of Warcraft.
Wow. I really wish I played WoW.
I think it's still
Yeah,
alive.
yeah.
Kicking.
Is it?
I think
Still
so.
playing, but like I don't know. I've heard like a lot of mixed things about like the new WoW. Like
Ah, it's not as
Yeah,
good.
You
everyone's
just go
like,
play old WoW.
A whole WoW. But I feel like you won't get the same experience, like the factions and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
That's the thing is, I just want like that experience really fleshed out as a game.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to get at with both of those ideas.
We want a
with the
good
Avatar
MMO.
and
Is
SAO.
it's what
we
we
really
want.
do want to get a. It's
Well,
just like
'cause it
a
just
game
unites
where you can
people,
like
you know?
A game with community.
have a character and you like design him and you can like choose your class and like upgrade your armor and shit
A unique
and like
experience player to play.
play with your friends.
But I don't
and
want
stuff.
it like turn-based RPG.
No,
No.
no, not at all. Real time combat
Real
all
time.
the way.
Yeah, but just like something that's not piss because like every quest and every MMO ever is just like
So bad.
go kill 6 of these enemies and then go
But-
gather these 3 plans.
And more often than
then,
not, if
like,
you do it with a group, it's all separate anyway.
yeah,
Yeah.
You have to all do it separately. It's like, what?
yeah, I want to be able to actually play with my fucking friends.
God, I miss petpetpark.com.
Is that like Club Penguin?
Probably.
Yeah.
What about? But no, we're missing something. We are, we're glossing over something. Elephant in the room, very important. Wizard 101.
I mean,
I don't know too much
game
about
is
the
okay.
world structure. I mean,
No, not in world building, just MMO.
just MMO.
It was good. It
I've
was
never
good.
played it. I'm
was
joking.
It was just a card game though.
Yeah,
it really was, huh?
but like,
Just a card game.
yeah, I mean,
You know who likes card games?
Another one that could be a really fun, like, game. A really fleshed out good Yu-Gi-Oh game where lots of deck survival and like
Yeah.
shit like the big tourneys happen in the
I
game.
want to
I
hear
would
the
find
drama, like, just the voice actors.
Motherfucker brought Karibo.
Yeah, I want them to be like cool like community stuff like that.
That's
you
what
know?
this is what we're discussing here is just we want MMO.
Yeah.
We want
really
a
do.
community, like
We
a
want
fun, good
cool
community.
MMO. Like
Not all
God,
pedophiles,
one of
like you said.
my biggest pet peeves this is why I can't play any MMO. I load in and then like I just around my screen there's
Oh
just like
my
so much
God.
fucking bullshit. It's like log in to get your daily bonus and here's your mail and here are the settings and this is your friends list and this is your quest list and this is your armor and this is your inventory and this is this
And
bullshit
here's-
it's
and the chat box
and the
is
chat box
like
is this
half your
big,
screen.
and then it's like world chat like specific chat local
Oh.
chat and it's like this fucking bullshit and like there's just so
I
much
hate
shit
it.
on the
Oh my
screen
God,
at any
I forgot
time.
about that.
I want a UI
So
that's
bad.
like Zelda, like where you have like
Barely
health
anything.
and like your stamina shows up when it needs
And
to,
you open you press start to see
Yeah.
all that bullshit.
and then nothing else. It's
Maybe
it's like
a little bit of chat, and that's okay. But I don't need to see global. I don't need to just one.
like
just
I
one
just
of 'em.
want minimal UI, and then if I want to see like my login shit or any of that, I'll press escape, dude. I will go and find that myself, and then I want like a list, you know. I don't want to like have to look around my screen like, what the fuck is it that I'm looking for here? Which of these buttons, like little icons that look like
Yeah.
shit on my screen, that I'm
God.
constantly bombarded with. Yeah, and I hate in MMOs how it's like, oh, which ability do I use? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 0, 1, 2, Q, E, W, R, S, T, V. Like I want like 4 abilities that like I can like equip or dequip, or like I want a good control scheme. Because every MMO is piss control schemes.
Terrible.
They're always just like the entire like all of the number keys are like your abilities.
Yeah.
It's fucked
terrible.
up.
It's not fun.
Yeah.
So
I think we've agreed that MMOs are not fun in their current
But
state.
they should be.
but
They should be.
They have a good base.
There's
know?
potential,
The idea of a
but you gotta
community is
invest
really
a lot
fun.
into it.
Communities in video games are one of the best parts.
Yeah, I'd agree.
But we need a better gameplay to go along with the community. That's why I'm really looking forward to Lost Ark. It's an MMO, but like the gameplay is more. I want to say League of Legends, but like not really like League of Legends. It's a more concise control scheme, and it's more about the actual gameplay, but it follows less of like the general RPG tropes.
Yeah.
On the topic of community-driven MMO stuff, as much as I shit on the world building of Destiny earlier, the community is insane. And when a raid comes out, or when a new event thing that's really big and challenging comes out, the way they rally behind it and solve the problems that are presented to them is crazy. Like, I'm talking literally insane. If you look up some of the shit that the community has accomplished, it's ridiculous.
I think that's really cool. Like, there's no developer guide.
No.
There's no, like, they just release
When they
it and
announce a
figure it
raid,
out.
it's like in 2 weeks, starts at this time. If you want to be world first, just make sure that you've got proof of your run going, like, while you're doing it. And I mean, they get alerted when someone finally finishes the first attempt, I think. But like, basically, when they announce that, and they announce what the recommended level is to do it, you just have hundreds of teams be like, hey, you available? You're on my team. You're on my team. Like, recruiting and grinding for 2 weeks really, really hard. And when it drops, people are in there. They're looking at other people's streams to see how far they've gotten, if they've passed their progress, like how they're trying to approach these puzzles that they're presented with, and what's working, what's not working, how they're doing it, and like trying new things. Just like, oh, fuck, maybe if I shoot that third light bulb when we're about to wipe, it'll like save us from being wiped. And like, shit, it is so crazy. And they're playing the game for 24 hours straight minimum most of the time on the world first attempt.
Minimum. How the fuck would they play for more?
Like more than 24 hours straight.
Oh, I thought you were like a day. I was like, how do you play for more than 24 hours?
No. I just mean like the attempts for world first, trying to figure everything out, goes long. Like,
yeah, I can imagine.
When you play a raid now, you find a Sherpa, and it's like, oh yeah, this is how you do this part. We gotta have somebody doing this and this and this. But they're just like going in and figuring it out with no instructions, and it's cool. It's cool as shit. Like, that's the kind of dungeons, like the final bosses I want on those floors in a hypothetical SAO game.
Exactly.
Is like huge puzzle, challenging things that you just go in and you try to figure it out.
Yeah.
For like I mean, they win a belt and they get their names recorded as they were the world first for this raid. But like, the recognition of it, I think is so cool.
Yeah. What's like the shortest one, like world first?
That's a good question. I think like 16 hours.
16 hours?
I think 16 hours was the fastest world first
Wait,
run.
what rate is that? It's like really short.
That was, I think you know what it was? Was the... Fuck, what was it called? The Siva raid in... Not Siva. It was the Fallen raid in Destiny 2 that you start in like the city, The like futuristic city, and you have to break into the vault.
Yep, I know.
Like the third and it's all
one, right?
fallen.
Like the third one?
It's all fallen the whole time.
Oh,
there's like the bit where you're on your Sparrow racing from the giant server, the death that just kills you if it touches you.
Mm-hmm.
That was the fastest world
that.
first raid, I think, if I remember correctly.
And was there like another raid that came after that?
Yeah, no, they're still adding more. Like,
yeah.
It's
I
really
remember
cool.
playing that raid, and we're like, press the buttons,
Press the buttons, please. And I like saw that somebody hadn't hit one. I was like, I'm going back, guys. You better finish this thing. And I flew into Death's mouth just to press the button. Like, it was so good.
That sounds so fun. Shit like that. That's like the kind of community shit that's like really cool.
Yeah.
I like meaningful gameplay, like actually fighting over territory. In For Honor, there was a thing where you could play multiplayer, right? Mm-hmm. And you would get like points, right? They were called troops, right? Like say you went on and you just played a 1v1, right? You played a 1v1 match against some random dude online, and you won, right? I was like, oh, you got 100 troops. you get to deploy them on this map, and there was like a little map, right? And you would deploy troops, and like every like 24 hours, the map would update, and whoever had more troops in an area would like conquer the area, or like if it was already yours. And like someone was attacking, but you had more troops, then you would like defend it,
And so then when you make your account, you get to choose like one out of the 3. I think now there are 4 options because
there's like the Chinese,
the Chinese.
But it's like for simplistic purposes, it was like the Vikings, the Knights, and like the Samurai.
Yeah.
And you could choose your faction, and then any like multiplayer match you played, you got troops, and then you could deploy them in like certain like hex squares or things,
Yeah.
and then you would like win or lose territory, and that was neat. But like actually having it be real territory, like in an MMO, like there being like a town, like this is like Traverse Town or something, and then like there was recently a faction war, and like the occupying town or like
they
the occupying
pushed them
faction,
back, and now they're living here.
Yeah.
This was a Fire Nation town, and the Water Tribe came in and kicked the shit out of them. Now they're living there.
Yeah, now the Water Tribe is living in this town. They're like occupying forces. Like the soldiers that are here are like water soldiers, So it's like it would be cool to like actually visually see that shit.
That would be really cool. And it should be a little bit more impactful than now they are here and now there's their flag.
Yeah, right, it should be like if you're a Water Tribe and Fire Nation, things cost a little more, or maybe
or something like that. And like when you like cross over the new border, it'll be like now entering the fire territory, now entering like the earth territory, and like that will change as you as the territory changes. You'll be like, oh shit, like I thought this was Fire Nation territory. It's like, no, bro, you missed it. Like there was a raid last week, and now the Water Tribe owns it. So like you gotta watch out, watch your ass.
How to watch out.
You're walking through the territory. You thought it was Fire Nation, then you get jumped by a bunch of waterbenders. You're like, oh shit, like I'm cool, don't worry about it. And they're like, nah, fuck you, kid. You're in the wrong neighborhood. You're in the wrong fucking neighborhood. Give us your money. So I just think that shit like that would be fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. How long are we on?
We're at 2:28 right now.
2:28.
What are you guys thinking? Want to do some final thoughts to close it out?
Yeah, I think we should hit some conclusions. What are you guys thinking?
Yeah.
Show don't tell, definitely.
Show don't tell.
Is
That's
a
my
big
favorite
part of games. We don't like dialogue.
Yeah.
Dialogue's not bad, but it's like tutorial dialogue. It's
important to have, if you're gonna have that big extensive lore, make it accessible and make it work into the game.
In the game, don't make me go to a different website.
Don't make me go to DestinyArchive.com and read the grimoire one piece at a time in the big library website. Fuck that. Show me a little bit, or at least like present it better. I think another one is really fleshing out the world and having it develop throughout a game, especially if it's like a linear storytelling game, not a Destiny, right? Endless experience. If you're having a game like that where it's point A to point B, beginning to end, play through the game story, having the world develop, having things happen when you're not necessarily around, having characters interact in meaningful ways that you're not necessarily involved in, all of that makes a world feel alive and connected.
Yeah. Okay.
I'd agree with that.
And not every game needs that.
No.
Like a fighting game doesn't necessarily need it, but it can definitely be the cherry on
Still
top
have
that
it.
pushes it to be a great game.
Yep. Absolutely.
I think when it comes to lore, I feel like you should utilize the lore too. You shouldn't just have lore, just have lore and then do nothing with it.
Yeah, like for instance, sorry, go on.
Oh no, I wasn't gonna say.
So
anything.
one that comes to mind for me is there's lore in Guilty Gear, right? That Soul has the gear properties in him, and that's why he can do dragon install. But it takes a huge toll on his body, and he's getting really old. So in Exard, he had dragon install. He could go full dragon, blah, and he got really strong, but for like 30 seconds.
Fucking install.
Yeah. But now in Strive, he's getting older, and it's taking more of a toll on his body. So rather than having his install super like always, now it's a command grab where he just goes into it for a second because he literally like his body can't maintain it anymore. So that's the lore developing and impacting gameplay. And on the flip side of that is Kai was never ever had an install before, but now he's sexing up some gear lady and getting her powers from it apparently, and now he's got a dragon install and his body's totally fine with it, so he uses it every single match because it's the best option.
Yeah, well, he literally can just activate it when he's on low health. Like that's it. He's just like dragon install, motherfucker, and like
it's just the way the lore
story.
plays into that, rather than it's not gameplay. Well, we think this would be cool, so we're going to make it make sense. It's not shoehorned in like that. It's something that it seems like they planned for it. You know.
Sure.
I think that's really cool that it's developing into that. And the fact that Axel can finally use his time powers.
Yeah, right, and that actually has to do with the story, because before Axel is a time traveler, right? But it's his powers, and he doesn't know how to control them, and so he was in his own time zone, and then his powers went on the fritz, and then he got teleported to a different zone, and then he's like, fuck these time powers, and I'm not using them, they're fucked up, I can't control them, they always get me into bad situations, I'm done using my time powers. But now he's like older and more experienced, and he's like, you know what, the time powers are actually kind of tight, I think I'm going to try using them, and he has like one move, right, that uses his time powers, and so like maybe in later games it'll incorporate it a lot more, but for Strive, now he just has like one move where he can do like the time stop thing.
Very cool.
It's very cool. Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, I think lore serving gameplay is very good too,
Yes.
rather than the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay.
We're gonna call that the podcast.
I think that's good.
Thank you for
today.
joining us this evening. Leave a like, subscribe, follow us on Twitch.
Leave a subscribe.
Leave a subscribe.
And we'll catch you next week. What do you guys want to talk about next week?
I don't know.
I think we'll figure it out.
Okay. Alright, later, fellas.
See you later, alligators.
Later, alligator.
You didn't put
I
on
say it
Sleeping Warrior.
once more. Later, alligator.